Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Apocalypse of 100 Demons. I became the strongest demon Tamer. Chapter 1. The wound was so severe that the wound was still alive. Pain, 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 pain. Chen Qing looked down at the tip of the knife sticking out of his chest, and at the familiar and ferocious faces in front of him. I don't understand. I don't believe it. These are the neighbors and friends that I am determined to protect. How did they point the knife at me? Why? Chen Qing staggered and slowly sat down against the wall. Why? Chen Kun sneered. You hid a room full of food, and you said you would distribute it uniformly, but most of it went into your mouth. He was wearing Chen Qing's paper armor, holding Chen Qing's paper knife. In the end of the world of 100 ghosts, this was Chen Qing's greatest reliance. How did it appear on him? It was Chen Shi. She pestered Chen Qing to go to bed tonight, and took off the paper armor that Chen Qing had never taken off. Chengxi. Chen Qing turned his head with difficulty and saw her in the crowd. When she met Chen Qing's eyes, she was a little flustered, but still said stubbornly, I told you a long time ago, give the paper armor to my brother. I only have this one brother. Why do you force me? As she said, she cried, I begged you so many times to give us more food, and you always said there was no. It's you. You forced me to this point. Don't talk nonsense to him. Search it out. Let's share it together. Familiar faces rushed into the room one by one, scrambling for it. No, there's nothing here. Only 2 boxes of instant noodles and half a bag of potatoes are left. Where did you hide it? Chen Qing, where did you hide the things? Chen Qing smiled. Food. It was eaten long ago. If it weren't for my strict distribution, how could I have survived until today? Tell me quickly, or we will fry your brother alive. Lu Yanhong grabbed a little fat man's hair and threatened fiercely. This is Chen Man, Chen Qing's younger brother, the only relative. Chen Qing, does it hurt? Chen Man looked at the knife in Chen Qing's chest expressionlessly. The little fat man who was born with one soul missing never knew how to cry or laugh. Put him over here, I'll tell you. Lu Yanhong was overjoyed and let the little fat man go. Chen Qing hugged him gently. He whispered, Xiao Man, they won't let you go, don't blame your brother. As he said that, he pressed him on the tip of the knife that emerged from his chest. Chen Man looked down at the tip of the knife that was inserted into his heart, and just hugged Chen Qing tightly. Child, a blind man stumbled in with a crying voice. After several collisions, he finally found Chen Qing's position. A hand of hot blood. You, the blind man cried heartbreakingly, do you still have any conscience? Most of the people in other communities died. Only our community has not had a single death. You still treat him like this. Get out of here. Someone kicked the blind man away. The blind man stumbled and cried loudly, mixed with the terrifying ghost howls outside. Chen Qing's strength was disappearing rapidly. He used his last strength to look at the faces one by one. Remember each face carefully. The figure of good brother Monkey was not among them, but his knife was taken by Yu Yangfang, so he was probably killed. All the things, in. Chen Qing spoke intermittently. Chen Kun hurriedly approached, but heard Chen Qing whispering and sneering in his ear, you are still so stupid. Chen Kun was stunned. Chen Qing's voice was a little louder. Those things can still last for a month, don't waste them. After saying that, there was no movement at all. Chen Kun was stunned. What does it mean? What can last for a month? But a scarred man next to him immediately shouted, where are those things? I heard it too, it can last for another month. Now you can survive. Chen Kun finally understood. In the end of the world, Chen Qing had sentenced him to death. He had a hideous look on his face and punched Chen Qing in the face. Chen Qing seemed unconscious. At the last moment, Chen Qing saw blood burning on Chen Man's body. He was awakening. Become a fierce ghost. Please, let me become a fierce ghost. Xiao Man, I'm sorry. Chen Qing, what did you say? The 6-year-old fat boy was beside the bed, handing over a cup of hot water and a pill with an expressionless face. Chen Qing had a fever. He stared blankly at everything familiar and asked, what day is it today? I don't know. Bring your phone over. Chen Man handed over the worn out. Take the phone and check the time, July 16, 2055. 29 days before the blood moon comes. Reborn. After a long pause, Chen Qing gritted his teeth and said, "Good. Good. Good. God has eyes. There is still 1 month before the blood moon comes. If I can't grasp this month, I will have lived in the apocalypse for so long in vain." There have been 2 ghost tides. The first one, 30 years ago, broke out in the south, and 9 out of 10 houses were empty. At the same time, it opened the era of human ghost control and the road of cultivation. In comparison, the north is more stable. There are ghosts, but the impact is not small. Of course, there are many sporadic ghosts, and from time to time there will be rumors that a family in the east of the city hanged themselves, and the boss of the sugar factory died miserably, etc. But this calm will soon be broken. Because the second ghost tide is about to come. It is a more terrible disaster than the ghost tide in the south 30 years ago. On the night of August 15th, the blood moon came, and the apocalypse of 100 ghosts began. At least half of the people will die in the first night. The blood moon will last for half a month. Then there will be a day that lasts for half a month, over and over again. The most terrifying thing is that after each blood moon, the ghost tide is twice as strong as the last time. If there were no awakened ancient objects, mankind would have perished long ago. The so-called ancient objects are cultural relics and antiques. When the blood moon comes, the blood moon ghost energy revives, and most of the ancient objects are awakened. A square whole coin from the previous dynasty, a throne chair, a family tree, all are possible. Some people have summarized the rules. Generally speaking, it seems that the older the object, the stronger it is. Especially the old objects that have been worshipped by many people. And Chen Qing's target is the 7 Treasures Demon Tower and the Zhongkui Ghost Map. The former has the strongest attack in Ziming City, and can suppress and control 12 ghosts in the tower. And the top ghost master can only control 5 ghosts. The latter, the Wu family, which has the strongest defense in Ziming City, and owns this map, is known as the Indestructible Family, and has also gathered many people to work for it. As long as these 2 items are in hand, he will have the capital to run rampant in the end of the world of 100 ghosts. Write down the famous ancient objects in my memory, and try to recall where they are now. The Qibao Demon Suppression Tower is in the Ghostless Tower of the Ghostless Temple. This is something that almost everyone knows. The Zhongkui Ghost Suppression Map should still be in the Wu family. In the Ghost Tide, the Zhongkui statue that can be seen in half of the city has left an indelible impression on the entire Ziming City. Chen Qing wanted to set off now, but he was so drowsy that it was difficult to sit up. "Don't move." Chen Man expressionless. "Take medicine first." Chen Qing looked at the little fat man who was born without a soul, and his eyes were a little sore. He could even feel Chen Man's hot blood on his chest. "I'm sorry, I didn't take good care of you in my last life." "It's okay." Chen Man had a blank expression on his face, put away the water cup, and went to do his homework. Chen Man didn't understand why Chen Qing apologized, but Chen Qing taught him that when others said sorry, he should say it's okay. Chen Qing looked at his back for a long time, and then regained his mind. He wanted both super antiques. In addition, he had to stock up on enough supplies. If you haven't experienced the end of the world, you won't understand the satisfaction of a mouthful of food sliding down your mouth when you are extremely hungry. It's just that I'm short of money now. Where can I get the money? The first thought was to sell the house. No matter what time, most of the people in the Tang dynasty have their assets in the house. But how can I maximize the money? After thinking about it, I immediately got the answer: loan sharking. Get a few more property certificates and apply for a few more loan sharking. Xiao Man, go and copy down the phone number of the loan sharks in the corridor for me. Ah, forget it. Come on, take a photo with your phone. This is an old 6-story residential area. On the walls of such residential areas, you can find almost all the contact information that can be punished. Yellow toots. That's the lightest. Chen Man came back soon. Chen Qing opened the album, but before he looked at it, a strange voice suddenly sounded. Gold is not worth changing. 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 A ghost half a meter tall, skinny and short, ragged and tattered, carrying a huge bag with a diameter of 1 meter suddenly appeared in the house. The huge bag was full of gold ingots. With the density of gold, the weight of this bag must be in tons. Gold is not worth changing. Gold is not worth changing. gold is not worth changing, gold is not worth changing. The ghost was still jumping around, and with the sound of clang clang, 2 gold ingots fell out of the huge bag. Gold can't be replaced, gold can't be replaced. The ghost was still jumping, and suddenly jumped onto the dining table, onto a whole roast duck, and disappeared abruptly. It was like jumping into the roast duck. Chen Qing looked at the roast duck with his eyes wide open. The roast duck turned into a golden duck. Chen Qing, the duck can't be eaten. Chen Man said calmly. He knocked on the golden duck expressionlessly. Chen Qing was stunned. This is Jin Buhuan, evil ghost level. Wandering soul, evil ghost, evil spirit. Evil ghost is a noun, a level above wandering soul, not that Jin Buhuan is evil. Chen Qing's mind was floating, a little shocked. Ghosts can be divided into good and evil, and Jin Buhuan is the most mysterious good ghost. According to legend, before death, if one feels that he has not repaid a great favor, if this obsession is too strong, he will become a wandering soul level debt ghost. Also known as repaying favor ghost. Jin Buhuan is the promotion of debt ghost. He will appear around people who have done him a favor and turn random objects around him into gold. Just like the golden duck in front of him. But who would owe me a great favor? If it was in the previous life, it would be easy to understand. Chen Qing asked himself that he had saved half of the people in the community. But in this life, he is still just an ordinary high school student. If it is the return of the favor in the previous life in this life. This concept is a bit scary. This means that Jin Buhuan can travel through time and space. He went over and weighed it. It was at least 40 to 50 kilograms. Chen Qing opened his mouth immediately, which means it can be sold for about 10 million. The old man was very happy, but he was very happy. In the Blood Moon, there are countless strange ghost rumors. For example, painted skin, coroner, butcher. Legend has it that there are 100 kinds of ghosts, but in fact, less than 30% of them have been seen by humans. Jin Buhuan is the mysterious existence in this strange legend. Originally, it was just a legend. I didn't expect it to be true. But this roast duck was originally for celebrating Chen Qing's coming of age, 18 yuan, but I didn't expect it to appreciate 500,000 times in a blink of an eye. I was anxious, but now I have a fever, so I can only wait until tomorrow. The next day, Chen Qing's health improved, put the golden duck in the mountaineering bag and went out. The largest gold shop in the city is called Beifu Jewelry. I want to sell 10 gold bars. The lady at the counter was stunned. Such big customers are not common. She looked at Chen Qing. He was young and his clothes would not cost more than 50 yuan. She naturally didn't believe it. Of course, in the service industry, they would not be stupid enough to show their displeasure. Chen Qing was invited to the VIP room. After taking out the golden duck with great effort, the lobby manager was stunned. The first reaction was that it was fake. The second reaction was also fake. Golden duck. Or roast duck. Too realistic. Every protrusion on the duck skin was clearly visible. Even the half-plucked duck wings and the hair roots that were not plucked cleanly were lifelike. My family used to run a chain of roast duck restaurants. This is the treasure of the store. After hearing what Chen Qing said, the lobby manager believed it a little. He asked someone to bring a spectrometer. Everyone has been dealing with gold all their lives, but this is the first time they have seen a golden duck, and it is so big. So those who have nothing to do squeezed into the VIP room to see the novelty, and even several counter girls took turns to come and see. A handheld spectrometer hit it, a 100%. This proves that the gold content is at least 99.9%. It is outrageous. Sir, if you want to sell this, you need to cut it open. Cut it. Several security guards asked for a half-person high hydraulic shear. They have forgotten how long it was since they last used this treasure. After laboriously cutting off a piece of duck wings, they took it to the more accurate desktop spectrometer to check. It is still a 100%. It means that the purity is at least 99.999%. It is outrageous. The density was measured again, 19.32 grams per cc, as standard as a textbook. Then it was melted into gold liquid with a flamethrower, and it was still the most standard gold. It's a bit unbelievable. What the hell? Outrageous, outrageous, outrageous. Such a big golden duck is enough to equal the total amount of gold shop recycling in half a year. Soon, a higher-level gold shop leader also came. For the sake of caution, the golden duck was cut into more than 20 pieces. They only then discovered that the ribs of the golden duck were carved vividly in the invisible places on the inside. Is it necessary? Is this a show of skill by a great craftsman? The leader of the gold shop has been accompanying Chen Qing and speaking politely. Finally, the golden duck was verified. A total of 21,259.33 grams. According to today's recycling price of 440, a total of 9,354,105 yuan and 20 fen. 9.3 million. The leader of the gold shop smiled so hard that his mouth was crooked. For recycling, it is natural to buy low and sell high. This duck must make at least 1 million. If the labor cost is added, it will be even more. 9 million will be put on the card, and the rest will be paid in cash. No problem. Soon, 9 million arrived, and the cash was placed in a delicate wooden box and brought to Chen Qing. Chen Qing went home, tore off the golden silk lining of the wooden box, and wrapped it outside. And put some ropes and hammers inside. May be used when climbing the ghostless tower. Chen Man kept watching. Chen Qing, are you going to sell the house? Chen Qing was slightly startled. Did he let Chen Man take pictures of the loan sharks and make him guess? Didn't you say that you can't sell this house no matter how poor you are? When Chen Man said this, his face was expressionless. Do you believe me? Chen Qing squatted down. Believe. Chen Man nodded, then shook his head. But if the house is sold, Chen Shan and Chen Quan won't be able to find us when they come back. Chen Shan is the father. Chen Quan is the eldest brother. The two mysteriously disappeared, but in the previous life, before the blood moon, Chen Quan had come back. He left behind the paper armor and paper knife that Chen Qing and Chen Man relied on to survive until the third blood moon. But Chen Qing and Chen Man did not. At home, we didn't meet. Don't worry, they will call. Chen Qing comforted a few words, and didn't cook, but ordered takeout. After telling Chen Man to close the door and go to sleep, he came to Wugui Temple in the afterglow of the sunset. Wugui Temple. It's not big, but it has a long history. There is a simple pavilion at the door, which says, 15 yuan for adults, 10 yuan for children, and free for children under 110 centimeters. Ordinary attractions are closed at this point, but Wugui Temple is special, and there are still a few incense sticks at this time. Chen Qing bought a ticket, came to the temple, and found the abbot directly. When he found him, he was wearing reading glasses and watching short videos. Donor, what are you doing? I'm here to fulfill a vow, Chen Qing said devoutly, pointing to the box wrapped in yellow brocade beside him. There was a time when my grandfather was about to go bankrupt, and then he came to this temple, too. Is it called the Ghost Tower? The Ghostless Tower. Oh, yes, I went to the Ghostless Tower to worship, and later my business was very successful, and I died of old age. So, today I came to the Ghostless Tower to fulfill my vow. Chen Qing was talking nonsense. My family hasn't been doing well recently, so while fulfilling my vow, I also want to spend a night here to wash away the bad luck on my body. Donor, the abbot said in embarrassment. The Ghostless Tower has been in disrepair for a long time and has been locked. Chen Qing pushed 2 thick envelopes over. Master, please give me a favor, although these things are vulgar, but as a Buddhist, please repair the temple gate or something. The abbot's eyes lit up. I haven't met such a kind and generous donor for several years. He was full of smiles at the moment. Such filial piety, we must naturally satisfy it. Wei, forget it, benefactor, I will take you there. As he said, he naturally put away the 2 envelopes and took Chen Qing to the back of the temple. The front of the temple was well developed, but the back half was still very primitive. The whole road was full of deep weeds. The abbot turned on the rear light of his mobile phone. Finally, Chen Qing saw the Ghostless Tower. The 7 floors were indeed in disrepair for a long time, and each floor was almost covered with spider webs. After a long time of rustling, the door lock was finally opened. Suddenly, a musty smell and dust came to my face. There was also a sound of clattering, which might have scared the mice. Donor, it is true that no one has taken care of this place for a long time. The abbot was a little embarrassed. Chen Qing shook his head. It's okay. He didn't complain, and knelt down directly on the dusty cushion. He was as pious as he could be. Good, good. The abbot put his hands together and slowly left. Abbot, please lock the door. The abbot was slightly stunned, and locked the door as he was told. Chen Qing was afraid that they would be worried. If they came to see him in the middle of the night, it would be the end. He looked around the environment. It was full of mold, dust everywhere, and the ghosts looked hideous. There were rats flashing by from time to time. Having been in the ghost tide, this place was not scary. The ghostless temple became quiet around 9 o'clock in the evening. At 12 o'clock, there was no sound. Chen Qing, who had been sitting all over with soreness, moved his body and slowly stood up. Half of Ziming City knew that the Qibao Demon Tower came from the ghostless temple, the 7th floor. Chen Qing walked lightly, turned on the flashlight, and went up step by step. Squeak, squeak. The floor was very unstable, and there was a sound with every step. Slowly came to the 2nd floor. There was a sculpture inside, a ghost was nailed to the ground, howling hideously. There was also a sculpture on the 3rd floor, a ghost was tied tightly with a rope. There were sculptures on the 4th, 5th, and 6th floors. Then Chen Qing frowned. The stairs to the 7th floor were broken. Chen Qing prepared a rope, but no supporting objects such as a grappling hook. He gently lifted half of a brick that had been loosened at the window, tied it to the end of the rope, and threw it gently toward the entrance of the corridor. Bang! A muffled sound. Dust waterfalls suddenly formed in the cracks of the floor slabs of the entire floor, falling down. With a pull, the brick was dragged down smoothly. Chen Qing took the fallen brick and frowned. This temple is not big or small, and the noise is probably not transmitted to the front temple, but what if it is? With that in mind, he wrapped a thick rope around the brick and threw it up again. Bang! Another muffled sound. Chen Qing grabbed the rope and shook it around, hoping to get it to hang on something. But it failed again. Then, the 3rd time, the 4th time. About 20 times. Finally, when Chen Qing swung it again, the soft rope instantly straightened. It hung on something. Chen Qing was overjoyed. He pulled it a few times to try, and it hung very steadily. He immediately stepped on the rope to make a loop and put it on his feet, and then he put his hands on the rope and put them on his feet. He climbed up to the 7th floor with his feet clamped together. When he shone the flashlight over there, Chen Qing was shocked. One end of the rope was being held by a ghost with a green face and fangs, and it was winking at him. The ghost was just a ghost sculpture. Chen Qing was horrified. He almost fell down, rolled to the side, and picked up the hammer at his waist. But that ghost was just a ghost sculpture. The rope happened to be hanging in its hand. Looking at the sculpture, he was still frightened. Having experienced the ghost tide, he didn't think it was just his imagination. He tried to hit it with a heavy hammer. Bang! A dull sound. It didn't look like a stone statue, but like hard leather, or dried meat. He felt a little scared, but no matter whether it was true or not, there was no possibility of retreating. Even if there was a ghost in the tower, he would bite the bullet and go on. There are many ghost statues on the 7th floor, but they are suppressed by a tower, and all of them look like they have rotten stomachs and intestines. House-guarding talismans, house-guarding copper gourds, etc. are usually placed on the beams. The space on the 7th floor is not high. Except for the middle, Chen Qing can touch it by standing on tiptoe. But I touched the 1st beam, but there was nothing. The 2nd beam, but there was nothing. The 3rd beam. Soon, Chen Qing was covered in dust, but he didn't touch anything. How could it be? Chen Qing was a little absent-minded, and touched all 8 beams again. Still nothing. Afterwards, he searched every wall and every inch of the ground carefully, but still nothing. Could this be a joke played by the owner of the tower? Chen Qing gritted his teeth secretly. Suddenly he looked at the sculpture on the 7th floor. A tower suppressed a group of ghosts, and the ghosts were crushed to the point of having their stomachs ruptured and their intestines spilled. In this sculpture, Chen Qing would never allow himself to return empty-handed. Even if the entire 7th floor is torn apart, crush it. He will find it. If there is no 7th floor, then there will be the 6th floor. The 5th floor. The 4th floor. He brought a hammer with him, and without hesitation, he smashed it heavily from the top of the tower in the sculpture. Crack! The broken stones flew everywhere, and sparks flew everywhere. Chen Qing's heart sank. This is carved from a whole big stone, and the tower cannot be in it. If it is a clay sculpture, it may be hidden inside. But how can it be a whole big stone? But at this time, Chen Qing seemed to be crazy and kept smashing. Crackling sounds were heard everywhere. Ding! Suddenly, a crisp metal sound. Chen Qing, who was already a little crazy, was slightly stunned, and looked over again. In the middle of the stone sculpture, the top of a small tower was revealed. Found it! Chen Qing was overjoyed. A quarter of an hour later, the whole body of the small tower had emerged. Chen Qing grabbed the tower and tried to break it, but his hand suddenly loosened. Bang! Chen Qing sat down on the ground holding the demon suppression tower. At the same time, a burst of cold air suddenly burst out from the hollow where the demon suppression tower was located. Hiss hiss hiss. Whew! Wow! A burst of whispers passed by. It seemed that someone was blowing the wind in Chen Qing's ear. These ghostly auras were filled with ghosts, most of which were somewhat illusory and unclear. But one of the ghosts was particularly solid, knocking on the bamboo tube and passing through the wall. Every knock was like knocking in the depths of Chen Qing's soul. Chen Qing's hair stood on end, and he clenched the demon suppression tower to protect his chest. All evils retreat. All evils retreat. All evils retreat. All evils retreat. Thank you, young husband, for saving me. A sweet voice circled around Chen Qing. It was an ancient woman holding a flower umbrella. The face was a little illusory and hard to see clearly, but Chen Qing's intuition told him that this was a first-class beauty. Is it a female ghost holding an umbrella? Chen Qing's heart was pounding, but there seemed to be no such person in his memory. After a while, the noise disappeared and it became quiet. It was just that some ghosts on the 7th floor of the ghostless tower seemed to have no time to go out at this moment, and they were confused and dazed. These are the lowest level of wandering souls, also called the newborn stage, which basically break at the touch and are almost harmless to people. Of course, Chen Qing would not take the initiative to provoke them, and immediately retreated. After reaching the 1st floor in one breath, Chen Qing finally breathed a sigh of relief. A small iron tower, about the size of a mineral water bottle, with excellent workmanship and small window panes clearly visible. This is the Ghost Suppression Tower. Qibao Ghost Suppression Tower. One of the 2 super ancient relics in Ziming City. With this thing, Chen Man and him are basically safe. Just looking at the footprints all over the tower, Chen Qing frowned. Time flies. Soon, the sky was slightly bright. A little monk ran to the abbot's bedroom. Master, there was movement in the ghostless tower last night. Movement. The abbot frowned. He naturally knew that it was because there was someone inside, and said casually, "Oh, there is someone who is devoted to Buddha's donor. He asked to stay in there for one night." Quote. Oh, the little monk was about to leave, and turned back and said, "But the sound I heard came from the 4th or 5th floor." Oh, the abbot couldn't sit still. Without even wearing a cassock, he took the key and the little monk and hurried to the ghostless tower. Quickly opened the door, and thick dust rushed in his face. Like smoke, the whole tower was full of dust, choking the abbot to cough several times. Donor, donor. After shouting several times, Chen Qing's voice came from upstairs. I'm here. The next moment, Chen Qing, who was covered in dust and whose original appearance could no longer be seen, appeared on the 1st floor. You, donor, what are you doing? The abbot was stunned. Oh, I saw that the dust was so thick, so I cleaned it up. Haha. Chen Qing blew the dust off his body and said, Master, do you have a basin? Many statues are covered with dust, so we need to sweep them. Oh, right, I accidentally stepped on a hole, and I don't know how to compensate for it. Quote. Chen Qing's footprints were everywhere in the tower, and he couldn't hide them. He simply pretended to sweep them and hid all the traces of his going to the top of the tower. No, 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 the abbot was very moved, but he still waved his hands. Donor, safety is important. Safety is important. This tower has been unattended for too long, so don't go there again. He added, just have Buddha in your heart, don't be bound by appearances. Chen Qing reluctantly said a few more words, but they were all rejected by the abbot. After a while, the little monk ran out. Master, this donor has swept to the 4th floor. The abbot said ashamedly, Hey. We chant Buddha here every day, but we are not as good as you, a secular person. No, no, no. Donor, please move to the temple for dinner. Quote. Very polite, but also with a meaning, please stop it. Stop it. Chen Qing turned around and took out the urn, and the little monk immediately locked the door. There was an extra lock. Holding the urn, containing the demon-suppressing pagoda, Chen Qing was satisfied. Today's temples are more or less commercial, but the eating is still very strict. Steamed buns, porridge, stir-fried vegetables. No meat. While eating, Chen Qing thought of something and asked, Master, do you have the Vajra subduing demons? Maybe I don't remember it correctly, but it's almost these words. Quote. Donor needs it. My grandfather said it. He said that this skill can strengthen the body, especially for people who believe in Buddhism. It is better to practice this skill. Yes, there is. Chen Qing quickly pushed a thick envelope over. Master, give it to me. For the sake of sweeping the 4-story pagoda. I am really devoted to Buddhism. Ah, the abbot ate a steamed bun with vegetables and nodded in the end. Chen Qing was even more delighted. He didn't expect to have such an unexpected gain. This body refining technique is a first-class technique. Physical practitioners have many advantages in the blood moon. The biggest advantage is that their blood is rich and can burn ghosts. The fist of a physical practitioner is like a red-hot iron to ghosts. Among several famous physical cultivation techniques, Chen Qing only knew this one. He just asked casually, but he didn't expect the source to be here. Chen Man's technique has hope. In the last life, Chen Man burst into dazzling bloodlight at the last moment. That was the natural qi and blood realm. After the two finished eating, they came to a study room. The tall shelves were full of books. Most of them were modern products, and a few of the older ones might be 40 or 50 years old. The abbot took out one of the books, Vajra Subduing Demons, and handed it to Chen Qing. Chen Qing was speechless. Printed material. There was even a price of 22 yuan and 80 fen at the back. Is it appropriate for you to sell it to me for 50,000? Chen Qing smiled and shook his head, did not take it, and just said, I have this one at home. The abbot was a little embarrassed and said, the original one was already very damaged, I'm afraid. Chen Qing stuffed another envelope in. Master, even if it was the original one, I'm afraid the market price would be less than 5,000, but my grandfather is devoted to Buddhism, please give me a favor. Quote. Since I know, there is no reason to let it go. Anyway, money will soon become a pile of waste paper. It would be fine even if he took out all the 1 million yuan he had. The abbot smiled and came to a safe with 2 envelopes. There is a safe. Chen Qing turned around tactfully. With a click, the abbot handed a very damaged ancient book to Chen Qing. It was written in traditional Chinese characters, Diamond Subduing Demons. Chen Qing was overjoyed. Although it looked like it would break if it was turned over, after the blood moon, I'm afraid that even bullets couldn't penetrate it. The ghost tower was a treasure, but the treasure was not worth it. He was full of joy. He got the ghost-suppressing tower for 200,000 yuan, and unexpectedly got the Vajra Subduing Demon skill. The abbot was naturally happy. It has been a long time since I met such a generous donor. The second goal is the Zhang Kui ghost-catching picture. Unlike the ghost-suppressing tower, the Wu family knows the preciousness of the ghost-suppressing picture. These days, there are wandering souls wandering outside the city every moment. Even if there is no strangeness now, hanging such an old painting at home always makes people feel at ease. So Chen Qing is not sure how much this thing will cost. 100,000, 1 million, or more. When I got home, Chen Man had already gone to school. Chen Qing suddenly had an idea and searched for borrow money in the app market. There really is one. Loan on Palm. At the same time, there is a huge row of similar loan platforms below. Here comes the money. Chen Qing was overjoyed and clicked to download one by one. In a moment, 5 pages of the phone were all loan apps. Clicked on the first one, and could only borrow 3,000. Chen Qing was immediately disappointed. Searched around in the software and found an asset verification. I took a photo of the property certificate, completed various information, and returned to the homepage. The limit had risen to 120,000. Comfortable. A bunch of instructions, all of which I agreed to. What details about not using it to buy a house or to speculate in stocks, all of which I agreed to. Then there was the verification of living people and personal verification with open mouths and closed eyes, and finally, all 120,000 was credited. Chen Shan left this house almost exclusively to Chen Qing and Chen Man. He and Chen Man always wanted to split $1 into two, but now when they saw the long string of numbers on the account, they didn't feel anything. This pile of stuff will eventually become waste. He sighed and clicked on the second software. After some operation, he borrowed 50,000 this time. Then, the next one. The next one. The next one. After staying up all night, he was supposed to have a good sleep, but he didn't expect to be busy until noon. At this time, his account had a full 1.8 million more, and the total amount reached 10.8 million. Should be enough. The biggest part, of course, is the Zhongkui ghost suppression map. The price of this thing is not certain at all. It depends on how much the owner values it. It may be 200,000 or 300,000, or even tens of millions. Chen Qing has to be fully prepared. In addition, Chen Qing plans to renovate his house. The two super antiques are to prevent ghosts, and there must be one to prevent people. Before the ghost tide, building a safe house in the end of the world was an extremely niche concept. But now it has become a business that is not much different from real estate. Most of them are enhanced for ghosts, such as silver runes all over the house, such as the whole house is made of mahogany, such as the wall interlayer has black dog blood, glutinous rice, etc. In addition, food and clothing are also a big expense. I don't feel at ease if I don't buy thousands of tons of them. The ghost tower has the function of storage, but it has not awakened yet. It's just an ordinary artifact with a little background. It has to wait until the blood moon to awaken, and after the blood moon, it can't buy anything. It's a dead loop. Chen Qing thought about it and remembered that there was an ancient tomb outside the city, which later became a major source of ghost tide. Borrowing some ghost energy from it should be able to activate the demon tower. Chen Qing, I'm back. Chen Qing's house is on the 6th floor, and the only one who can call me back on the 1st floor is Chen Man. I'm hungry. When Chen Man entered the house, he saw that Chen Qing had not cooked, so he didn't say much. He went to the kitchen, stepped on a small chair, rinsed and washed, and cooked the rice in the rice cooker. Then he came to the already worn-out small table, spread out the book to do homework. Of course, as expected, he shouted for the first question. Chen Qing, I don't know the first one. The same for the second question. Chen Qing, I don't know the second question. Chen Qing, I don't know the third question. Chen Qing has long been accustomed to it and teaches patiently. Chen Man is very sensible, but also very stupid. The next day, Chen Qing bought himself a new mobile phone, a new outfit, and cleaned himself up at the barber shop. Looking at himself in the mirror, with a big back hair, a suit, and a briefcase, he successfully aged 5 or 6 years. After checking some information about the Wu family, he finally felt a little confident. The Wu family was once rich, their ancestors were glorious, and their descendants are getting by. A few years ago, they put out a fire in the safe house field, lost a lot of money, and are still entangled in several lawsuits. Finally arrived at the Wu family villa. It is not top-notch, but almost. Knock on the door. The one who came out was. A young man looked at Chen Qing in confusion. Who are you? My name is Li Qing. I'm here to discuss a business deal at the request of an old overseas Chinese. Chen Qing handed over a bag of juicy fruits. This circle is neither big nor small. If a local person asks a few more questions, he will be exposed. Ah, business deal. The young man was a little confused, but he still welcomed Chen Qing in. Soon, a middle-aged man came down from the 2nd floor, and Chen Qing immediately stood up. My name is Wu Xiaomin, hello. The two sat down. Excuse me, because an old man has taken a fancy to your Zhongkui ghost-suppressing painting, Chen Qing said with a smile. This old man moved abroad for business, but he has always liked everything related to Zhongkui, and asked me to ask you if you can give it up. Overseas Chinese. Wu Xiaomin frowned, but shook his head. This painting is inherited from my ancestors and is not for sale. It's difficult to refuse without asking the price. Yes, I fully understand. The Wu family is a wealthy family in Ziming City, and they definitely don't lack this little money, Chen Qing tried hard to find the words, but this old gentleman really likes the Tang dynasty culture, especially Zhang Kui and the ghost culture it represents, which is his favorite. He should know something about you. He said that he respects you and your family's glorious history, and is willing to exchange everything he can get. Wu Xiaomin smiled. Maybe everyone has their own pride, and what Wu Xiaomin is proud of is the glory of his ancestors. I really want to meet this friend. I wonder if you can introduce him to me, little brother. Wu Xiaomin smiled. Maybe it's impossible in a short time. Chen Qing shook his head and brought the topic back to the picture. Uncle, I believe that with the glory of your family, there must be more than one good treasure passed down from your ancestors. This old gentleman really likes it to the bone, so you should give it up. Wu Xiaomin peeled the orange brought by Chen Qing, stuffed 2 slices in it, and said nothing. It's time to bid. Chen Qing thought to himself. This map must be obtained, even if it costs to clear all the accounts. Will he give the 1 million? A middle-aged woman's voice came over. Yes, yes, of course he will. Chen Qing was delighted. He looked up and saw a wealthy middle-aged woman. This is my wife, Wu Xiaomin said. Hello, Mrs. Wu. Chen Qing bowed slightly and said, I'll make a call. As he said that, he came to the yard and dialed his brother Chen Quan's number. Of course, it was already unavailable. After pretending to ask for instructions and report for a long time, he came back and smiled. The gentleman said that this price is acceptable, and he also said that Mr. Wu is welcome to visit. Wu Xiaomin and Mrs. Wu were both stunned. Because this map is not very old, according to the market price, it may be 1 0 less. Mrs. Wu suddenly stood up and said, Oh, no, not 1 million. 200. No, 5 million. 5 million. She raised her eyebrows at Chen Qing and said, Young man, you are the intermediary. If the transaction price is high, your commission will also be high. If it is convenient for you, tell me more. If 5 million is successful, I will give you a big red envelope. I cut my own price. Chen Qing was speechless and shook his head. Mrs. Wu, based on my understanding of that gentleman, I am afraid that this price is unlikely. It is estimated that it can be a little more. But it is limited. It's okay, just say it. For the part exceeding 1 million, I will give you a 20% commission. Chen Qing agreed, but in fact he was already very happy. It can be won for more than 1 million. It's a free pick. He pretended to call again. This time it took a long time. Finally came back and said, This gentleman bid 1.6 million. Wu Xiaomin frowned. He didn't actually plan to sell. The ghost tide has a very limited impact on the north, but people still pray to gods in peacetime. In this world full of ghosts, it is always a relief to have such an old Zhang Kui picture hanging in the house. Mrs. Wu seemed to see what he was thinking. She nudged him with her elbow and whispered, They have been asking for debts these days. Now I feel nervous when I hear the knock on the door. Don't you still have several ghost-catching pictures? Last time I asked someone to appraise it, they said it was only worth 100,000 yuan. What are you still hesitating about? Wu Xiaomin finally nodded. Mrs. Wu looked at Chen Qing and said happily, How do I transfer the money? Draft a contract and I can transfer the money now. At that moment, Mrs. Wu and Chen Qing drafted the contract while chatting and laughing. Soon, Chen Qing transferred 1.6 million yuan from his account to Mrs. Wu's account. Mrs. Wu happily took out a picture. Another envelope was pushed over. Chen Qing had just sent out 200,000 yuan in this way yesterday, so it was natural to see that the thickness was at most 50,000 or 60,000 yuan. It is far less than the 20% promised by Mrs. Wu. That's 120,000. Chen Qing's face was a little ugly. He was pretending. When being bargained, you have to act extremely painful, so that the payer will feel that he has benefited. Oh, young man, that's enough. Don't be greedy. Mrs. Wu patted Chen Qing's knees. You earn 50,000 in this hour, which is good enough, and the overseas Chinese will definitely pay you a commission. Yeah, Chen Qing exhaled through his nose. Unfold the picture. The ugly Zhang Kui caught 2 little ghosts, and there were a pile of little ghost corpses under his feet. Vivid. No need to check the authenticity, this is it. Chen Qing remembered the fierce appearance that could be seen in half of the city clearly. Zhang Kui picture, got it. After leaving Wu's house, Chen Qing was so happy that he almost jumped up. Mrs. Wu, what a great help. It can be seen that Wu Xiaomin didn't want to sell it, and if he said the price, it might be much higher and difficult to bargain. And Mrs. Wu's operation of trying to take advantage of it gave herself a huge bargain. When she returned to the community happily, she saw a group of children circling around Chen Man. Wild child, no one loves you when you were born. Wild child, picking up steamed buns from the garbage dump. I don't pick up steamed buns. Chen Man, who must have been punched a few times, had a bleeding nose. I only pick up bottles and exchange them for money to buy steamed buns to eat. Ha 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 ha. The other children laughed. The oldest child was about 10 years old, named Huang Can, a child from the neighbor's family. He grabbed Chen Man's cheek and twisted it hard a few times. See? This little rubbish. He won't hide when you hit him, and he won't talk back when you scold him. He is a natural punching bag. Ha ha, ha. Chen Qing gritted his teeth, rushed forward a few steps, grabbed Huang Can's hand, and chuckled. It hurts. Huang Can's face changed, and tears immediately came out. Chen Qing, are you crazy? You hit a child. A woman rushed out of the store next to her and pushed Chen Qing hard. Chen Qing's body shook, but he didn't let go. He looked at the woman coldly. Lu Yanhong, owner of a snack bar in Zhongpan community. She was one of the people who killed her. When he beat my brother, you didn't care in the store. Now you say he is a child. Let go. I'll tear you apart. Lu Yanhong screamed. Her dry, ridged nails pinched the back of Chen Qing's hand tightly, tearing a hole. Blood flowed all over his hand. But Chen Qing still didn't let go. His hand strength was even stronger. Huang Can cried loudly. Lu Yanhong was even more anxious. Let go. I'll tear you apart, believe it or not. At this time, she suddenly let go of Chen Qing's hand and stabbed Chen Qing's eyes with her 10 fingers. Chen Qing dodged to the side and avoided her claws. Let go of her hand and smiled. Very good. Turned around and left with Chen Man. Chen Man dragged a big bag, which was banging and clanging inside, and there were many empty bottles. Chen Qing squatted down, touched his head, and was full of heartache. Xiao Man, you don't have to pick up bottles anymore. But the money left by Chen Shan is almost used up. Well, but I have earned a lot of money. Chen Qing opened the envelope given by Mrs. Wu, which was full of big red banknotes. Look, is it much? Chen Man leaned over and looked carefully, shook his head. I can't count so many. Anyway, you don't have to pick up bottles. Do you understand? Chen Man still had a blank expression and was still serious. Okay. The two were lonely, and while they spent every penny, they always tried to earn every penny with their own limited methods. As long as it can be exchanged for a steamed bun, as long as it can be exchanged for an eraser, it is worth picking up. Decent. Only children who are held in the palm of their hands have the confidence to make noise. They have always been sensible. No matter who hits you in the future, tell me, understand? I know. Go home first. Oh. Chen Man went back. Chen Qing walked to the trash can, where 3 homeless children were rummaging through things. The ghost tide in the north was very light, but many people still died, and many homeless children who lived like rats were born. The 3 children were all covered in dirt and stinking, and looked at Chen Qing vigilantly. Chen Qing took out a big red banknote, gave it to a homeless child, and pointed to Lu Yanhong's store. Go to that snack bar and make trouble. The homeless child was overjoyed. Chen Qing took out 2 more big red banknotes, handed them to the other 2 children, and pointed to Huang Can who was acting. Go beat him up, this is yours. The 3 were overjoyed. One of them grabbed a brick and cautiously came to the door of Yanhong snack shop. The oil pan was bubbling, and the occasional burst of oil splashed painfully. The homeless child slammed the brick into the pan, turned around and ran. Bang, puff, the boiling oil splashed. Lu Yanhong, who was frying potatoes, screamed miserably. Ah, ah, she was shaking with pain, and a bunch of words with parents and genitals gushed out of her mouth, screaming and chasing after him. How could a middle-aged woman with half of her body greasy catch a street child as slippery as a mouse? Huang Can didn't know what happened, and looked at his mother who was screaming and running towards the street, a little suspicious. Confused. Bang, a heavy slap stunned him. Huang Can staggered and saw a dirty homeless child who was about the same age as him. You. Huang covered his face and subconsciously took 2 steps back. He was always afraid of these plague-like children. Bang! Another slap. At the same time, another homeless child punched him in the face. You are Huang Can. Huang Can's eyes were full of stars and blood gushed out. He waved his hands in a daze and tried to push the 2 away, but was tripped and fell to the ground. The 2 homeless children rode on him and beat him up. Huang Can cried with his head in his hands. The 2 homeless children saw many adults looking over and pinched his face. They punched him hard in the mouth through the gap between his hands and then ran away like crazy. Huang Can's nose and mouth were covered with blood, and he cried loudly, "Ah! Ah! Comfortable." Chen Qing looked at all this indifferently. Compared with his own and Xiaoman's lives, this is nothing. There is no interest. I have to protect this group of people, and cut them bit by bit in the ghost tide. Thinking of this, Chen Qing turned into the bank and took out the envelope. Deposit money. Deposit the money, 10.75 million. The lady at the counter asked Chen Qing to wait, and then chased out, "Hello, sir." She handed over a card very solemnly. "Sir, your deposit amount has reached the bank's silver card standard." A lot of benefits were mentioned, including gas discounts, half-price movie tickets, free car washes, free designated barber shops, etc. Chen Qing was speechless. Logically speaking, shouldn't these benefits be given to those poor people who deposit 1,000 yuan? I already have a silver card, why do I need this? Why are all the good things given to the rich? I see. He took the bank card and was about to leave when the lady at the counter stopped him again. This time, they were selling insurance and funds, saying that the guaranteed return was 8%, and it was very likely to reach 12%. Not to mention 12%, even 1,200% was not considered. Chen Qing was a little impatient, and the lady at the counter saw it. She mechanically flipped open a booklet and said, "There is also a safe house to build." At this point, she didn't want to introduce it anymore. She put away the booklet and smiled politely, "Sorry to bother you for so long." "What did you say?" "Safe house." Chen Qing was interested. "The bank also has this business." The lady at the counter was delighted and made a gesture of invitation. "Sir, please go to the VIP room upstairs. Wait for the 2 to go to the 2nd floor." There were 3 tall and beautiful girls doing business in the lobby on the 1st floor. One of them had the most outstanding figure and appearance, and she was full of surprise when she looked at Chen Qing's back. If Chen Qing saw it, he would definitely recognize it as the number 1 on the must-kill list. Chengxi. Chengxi thought of something and came to the place where Chen Qing had just deposited money. She picked up the empty envelope and took a look. There were 4 small golden characters, Zimming Securities, on the back. Her eyes shrank instantly. She always wanted to be with a rich man, so she naturally knew that places like securities were divided into different levels. Zimming Securities' ordinary envelopes were in red. Silver characters represented total assets of 5 million. Gold characters represented 50 million. Chen Qing was so rich. She didn't know that this envelope came from the Wu family, and Chen Qing didn't even know where Zimming Securities was. Gold characters. Fu Yueyu, who was next to Chengxi, looked at the 2nd floor. Am I seeing it wrong? The one just now seemed to be Chen Qing. Chengxi smiled, and smiled sweetly. He emphasized, "Not only did he chase me, he is still chasing me now." The safe house was a niche topic before the ghost tide. Most of those who care about safe houses are crazy about apocalyptic novels, brainwashed by cults, and extremely cherish their lives. After the ghost tide broke out, the crime rate soared, and safe houses are no longer a false proposition. From small alloy doors and apocalyptic material reserves to large customized houses. At the beginning of the ghost tide, safe houses became popular and the prices were also hyped up to sky-high prices. When the ghost tide broke out in the south decades ago, 9 out of 10 houses were empty. Even the north, which had no ghost tide, also set off a safe house craze. In recent years, people have found that the ghost tide is not that scary, especially in the north. Although there are sporadic ghosts, the probability of encountering them is too small. In addition, new safe house companies open every day, so the price has dropped again. The person who received Chen Qing was called Manager Jin. Dongfang Bupo Safe House Company, they focus on preventing ghosts. There are several layers of black dog blood, glutinous rice, black donkey hooves, etc. in a whole wall, and there are runes blessed by the master. 300 guards, their family focuses on preventing people. The whole house is made of aluminum alloy, titanium alloy, chrome molybdenum steel, tungsten steel, etc., with HRC hardness ranging from 35 to 70. There are supporting facilities such as cameras, generators, diesel depots, weapons and firearms, and medicine houses. In any troubled times, weapons will grow wildly like seedlings after a long drought. In today's world, firearms are semi-legal, and special bullets have a killing effect on ordinary ghosts. Chen Qing asked everything very clearly. With the Zhang Kui map, the most terrifying thing for him is actually human beings. So any anti-ghost things can be used casually, but alloy walls, firearms, etc. for preventing people must be arranged. Plus things like pepper spray, electric batons, tear gas, etc. The more the better. The hardness of tungsten steel is as high as HRC 70, but 65 chromium molybdenum steel is more recommended. Do you need to call the people from the 300 guards company to talk? Yes, Chen Qing nodded. Soon, the people from the 300 guards company arrived. This is much more professional than Manager Jin. Hello, Mr. Chen. My last name is Yang. This is my business card. Have you ever considered a small farm, Mr. Chen? If your room is big enough, you can also build a small farm. This is a 3-dimensional farm map. Using the crops we recommend, each square can produce about 3 kilograms of vegetables per week. Potatoes are recommended as staple food, such as Qingshu 9E. The temperature and humidity are well controlled, and the yield can reach 90 kilograms in 80 days. The fertilizer in the soil is specially configured by us. With biological fertilizer, that is, human feces, it can generally be recycled about 300 times. Even if it is highly cultivated, 50 years is possible. There is also a water collection room. You only need to reserve a hole, extend the water collection rod and open it. You can collect about 1 liter of water every day. If it rains or is cloudy, it will be more. The medical room will be equipped with common medicines, so minor illnesses are no problem. It is also equipped with a dispersed needle infusion set, which is foolproof. You can give yourself an infusion with a simple stick. Antibiotics, anti-inflammatory drugs, etc. can basically cure all ailments. Also there is an entertainment room, with 200 terabytes of novels and comics, about 900 billion words of novels, about 100,000 online novels of 5 million words, and 60,000 animations, including almost all types such as hot-blooded, fighting, romantic, and pornographic. Quote, the total size of the game is 1.9 petabytes, with about 5,000 large games and about 200,000 micro games. Quote, the chips, graphics cards, and memory used in the game console are all very mature models, and the performance is also strong enough. Generally speaking, it is no problem to use it for more than 10 years, and we have prepared spare parts. Quote, the video storage space is about 3.1 petabytes. If 1080p is used, it can store about 6 million hours of video. It includes movies, TV series, variety shows, etc., which can be allocated according to your preferences. Quote, there is also a gym, which is equipped with silicone dolls, and the key parts can be replaced. After several years of development, the safe house is now very complete, with everything from food, drink, and entertainment. What Chen Qing thought of and didn't think of, others already have extremely professional solutions. The biggest problem nowadays is that the house is not big enough. It can't accommodate so many facilities. Should we move? High-rise buildings are ruled out first. There are too many flying ghosts. 6-story residential areas, it seems that there is not much room for choice. Zhongpan residential area is close to the water. Except for drowned ghosts, ghosts are generally afraid of water, which is very good. The residential area is just 4. All sides face the street, like a wall, and my house is in the middle, which is also very good. The area is several hundred square meters, and it must be able to get sunlight. How much does a house that meets these conditions cost? Either a villa or a manor. A 3-story villa in the villa area in the west of the city is generally around 7 million. The usable area is about 300 square meters, with a garden of about 70 square meters. It's totally affordable. Chen Qing was very interested. How much does it cost to build a safe house in a villa? It may be a bit expensive. 300 square meters is not small. In addition, the family farm on the first floor must have a full inclusive protection structure. The price is about 46 million. Because the villa needs to be fully customized, the construction period is about 3 months. Quote. Chen Qing was speechless. Finally understood why it is said that villas are easy to buy but difficult to decorate. The most important thing is that 3 months is enough to die several times. A simple calculation in my mind shows that with the area of the villa, it will not be cheap no matter how it is built. There must be a family farm. Normally, I am too lazy to look at cabbage and tomatoes, but in the end times, I will be craving for vegetables. Don't worry, audience. There are 3 considerations for building on the roof. First, there is no money, and I can't afford a bigger one. Even if I can afford it, I can't afford to renovate it. Second, there is no time, and it can't be wasted. Third, a family farm is needed. This thing takes up a lot of space and needs to see the sun. I don't like spoilers, but because many readers say this is a poisonous point, I will reveal a little. There will be a super awesome safe house in the later stage. My house is on the top floor. These things are expanded to the roof. Can I bear it? Mr. Chen, you don't know that the design strength of buildings in the Tang dynasty will exceed the mandatory standard by at least 30%, generally 40–60%. The materials used in our old community are more solid, so there is no problem with bearing weight. And we will strengthen the structure during construction. There is no problem. Quote. Chen Qing was delighted and said, "What if the first floor was blown up?" Manager Yang was startled and said, "Explosives are strictly controlled and ordinary people can't get them. If he can get explosives, for this person, it doesn't matter whether the safe house is on the first floor or the 6th floor. Because when the equivalent is sufficient, even if the safe house can withstand it, it can still shock the people inside to death through the safe house. Then choose the 6th floor. At least, you can grow vegetables on the roof." Just after hesitating for a long time, Manager Yang expressed his concerns. The top floor is a very good choice, but it is an illegal building. Although it is loosely controlled now, if someone reports it and is discovered, it will be ordered to be demolished. It's okay. If someone really reports it, with the efficiency of the Tang dynasty government, several departments will pass the buck to each other, and the blood moon will come. But Manager Yang thought of another layer. This young man obviously has a government background. He can handle many joints. Thinking of this, he naturally valued Chen Qing a little more. The next thing was to talk about the price. Chen Qing invited Manager Yang of the safe house and Manager Jin of the bank to his home. Manager Yang was very open and even marked the market price of chrome molybdenum steel, and then quickly estimated the price based on the drawings. The price was very fair. According to what the other party said, they only made about 5%. However, Chen Qing was a little overwhelmed after all the preparations. The medical room must be prepared. What about medicine? It also costs money. Cold medicine and painkillers must be prepared. Glucose, anti-inflammatory, antibiotics, painkillers, etc. must also be prepared. Add some unpopular medicines. After a calculation, it was 850,000. The entertainment room is even more expensive. Skip TB, the storage space in PB sounds very exciting. But when it comes to NAS, the price per petabyte is close to 100,000. Adding all kinds of game equipment and spare parts, the cost of the entertainment room is as high as 1.3 million. For food, I simply don't go to the supermarket myself, and directly order 125 cubic meters of various canned foods here. There are so many things that they can only be placed on the roof. In addition to diesel engines, the power generation equipment also has solar panels covering the entire building, wind power generators, and hand crank generators, each of which is equipped with spare parts. There is also a family super farm, which is nothing more than soil, but it is sold by kilograms. Adding left and right, the price has increased to 14 million. It's too much. Manager Jin smiled and said, "Mr. Chen, I wonder how you want to pay. How much down payment do you choose?" Down payment. Yes, how could I forget this? His eyes lit up and asked, "What is the lowest down payment?" Usually 40%, but you are a silver card user, it can be 20%. Great. Chen Qing was overjoyed. To him, this was equivalent to a 80% discount sale. The real meaning. Cleared the warehouse with tears. Now it's completely enough. Bought some more guns and ammunition. It only cost about 3 million. The three of them were very happy. Chen Qing bought a safe house at a bargain price, Manager Yang negotiated a 14 million business, and Manager Jin got a loan of 10 million. If the family hadn't prepared, it would be worth a drink. Chen Qing thought about it and asked, Manager Yang, you are an expert. If we use the standard of, it's good to be alive, what is the most cost-effective? In the end times, every bite of food is a priceless treasure. Food is the hard currency in the end times. As long as there is food, you can buy everything you can think of. Chen Man and I must eat delicacies from the mountains and the sea. But the food used as a bargaining chip is edible, and the larger the better. Manager Yang smiled and gave Chen Qing an unexpected answer. Pig feed. Ah, Chen Qing was slightly stunned. Pig feed is generally made from the oil residue of soybeans, peanuts, sesame seeds, and corn in the oil mill, which is the residue after the oil is squeezed. High in carbohydrates, high in protein, low in fat, pure and natural, and specially formulated with vitamins for you. To be honest, let alone the doomsday, even now, you are healthier than most people. 6. Chen Qing thought about this problem. He thought of buying raw materials such as wheat and corn directly, and then see if he could process them. I never expected that the idea would change and suddenly become clear. How much does pig feed usually sell? If the quantity is small, it is generally about 2 yuan per catty. If the quantity is large, it can be bought for more than 1 yuan per catty. Okay, that's it. Stock up on pig feed and spend it as money in the doomsday. After confirming that there were no omissions, the two parties finalized the contract. Chen Qing was very strict about the completion date, within 20 days. This was because a layer was added to the roof. Otherwise, the modular custom house could be assembled in 2 or 3 days. He took Chen Man to live in the hotel, the presidential suite, for 4,999 per day. It was really nice to have money. This suite was at least more than 200 square meters, and all the furniture exuded a sense of luxury. What Chen Qing liked most was a big safe. After locking the Zhang Kui painting in the safe, Chen Man said, Chen Qing, this is bigger than our house. There is also a children's room inside, full of toys, but Chen Man doesn't care much about toys, he just found an animal documentary and watched it with relish. Retracting his thoughts, Chen Qing's most important thing now is to activate the demon suppression tower. He needs to store a large amount of food. The demon suppression tower has a storage function, but it has not experienced ghost energy, has not awakened, and is now just an antique with a bit of age. When the blood moon comes, it will be too late. Fortunately, Chen Qing knows that there is an ancient tomb in the east of the city, which is very important. It is said that it is probably a princess's tomb. After the blood moon, it has become a major source of ghost tides. There should also be enough ghost energy to activate the demon suppression tower. Just thinking about it, Chen Man finished washing and moved to sleep next to Chen Qing. Good night, Chen Qing. Good night. The next day, Chen Qing received a call early in the morning. It was the class teacher, Lu Shi, nicknamed Shijilang. Not Chen Qing, how long do you have a cold? Chen Qing then remembered that he had asked for leave a few days ago and had not been to class for almost a week. This time I had a severe cold. Hurry up, the talent test will be here tomorrow. If you pass the test, there will be many people rushing to pay your university tuition. Got it, thank you, Brother Shi. After hanging up the phone, Chen Qing remembered that tomorrow is July 24th, and the ghost control team will test talents on this day. But in the last life, for some reason, Chen Qing did not go. After the blood moon came, Chen Qing fought for his life to survive and joined the Ghost Control Army Reserve. Only then did he know that he had a talent for controlling ghosts. But it was too late at that time. Talent must be tested, and only if the talent is qualified can you join the Ghost Control Team, the Ghost Extermination Team, or the university. Only then can you learn the Black Prison Ghost Contracting Technique. The Black Prison Ghost Contracting Technique is related to whether one can control the Ghost King in the Demon Suppression Tower. The Demon Suppression Tower has 12 positions, which can suppress 12 ghosts. Once the tower is full of 12 ghosts, a Ghost King will be summoned. More than half of Ziming City was killed or injured in the first blood moon, but in fact, the high-end combat power was not greatly damaged. Although it is the end of the world for ordinary people, overall, the order has not collapsed. In the second blood moon, the Ghost King in the Demon Suppression Tower went berserk, and the inside and outside cooperated, and Ziming City really fell. Chen Qing survived the third blood moon, but seeing the scale of the third time, everyone was desperate. If anyone could survive, it would probably be the Wu family who owned the Zhongkui map. His mind was floating. Chen Qing rang the service bell. After all, it was the presidential suite. Soon 2 waiters pushed the dining cart and brought breakfast in a grand manner. Lay out the dishes one by one: fried ham, fried eggs, fried bacon, braised pork, fried dough sticks, bread, sandwiches, porridge, soy milk, orange juice, plus a few side dishes, a total of 15 kinds. It's really nice to have money. After quickly finishing breakfast, Chen Qing said, "Xiao man, don't run around today. If you want something, just press this service bell and someone will bring it to you. Today is Saturday, and there are no classes in school." Chen Man nodded and spread out his homework. "Chen Qing, who can you ask if you don't understand the questions?" "Ah, press this service bell too. The brothers and sisters will explain it to you just now. I have to play a guest role in tomb robbery today. I was thinking about where to buy a shovel, but I saw a face engraved into my bones in the hall. Chengxi, it's so unlucky. Chen Qing has something to do now, so he doesn't bother to pay attention to her and goes out of the hall directly. Chengxi found this place after seeing Chen Qing in the bank yesterday and tried every means to track him. She did have some means, and actually found out Chen Qing's room number. Presidential suite. Now, Chen Qing's identity was finally confirmed. A rich second generation who didn't show off his wealth. A top user of Ziming securities. A safe house worth at least 10 million is being built. Afford to live in a presidential suite. She secretly hated herself for not having. She had good vision, and she actually kept Chen Qing as a spare tire. She had plenty of ways to deal with men. So she waited here today, with the purpose of pretending to meet by chance. When Chen Qing came close, she would pretend to sprain her ankle and fall into his arms, and then he would let me sit on him. What's next? It's too fast to hit the home run today, which would make him look down on me. Let's give him a little sweetness first, and hit the home run slowly, then second base, or third base. But she never expected that Chen Qing would just leave. Left directly. Didn't you see me? She has always been absolutely confident in her appearance and figure. This is tantamount to a heavy blow. Chen Qing, who was about to go to the hardware store to buy tools, saw a camping store, and turned in with an idea in his mind. Military camouflage patterns accounted for most of the inside. Hiking boots, hiking bags, windproof lamps, thermal blankets, etc. Chen Qing had a clear goal: an ordnance shovel. Get an ordnance shovel. The shop owner came up happily and pointed at the ordnance shovel hanging on the rope net on the wall. This one is made of tungsten steel. It can be used as a hoe, a shovel, a mountain axe, chopping and cutting. It can also be used as a small pot after cleaning. By the way, there are needles and thread, matches, and compasses in the handle. Let's get the most expensive one. The most expensive one is priced at 3,499, and there is no bargaining. Swipe the card. The shop owner was stunned and knew that a big customer had come. He immediately started to sell. Handsome guy, mobile phone, do you need a mobile phone? Chen Qing was about to shake his head, but paused. A thick mobile phone. The shop owner is also a talent. Without saying a word, he smashed the mobile phone to the ground. Dwang. Pick it up again, nothing will happen. 4 protections: dustproof, shockproof, waterproof, and drop-proof. It can last for a week in normal use and a month in power-saving mode. There is also a SOS module and satellite communication. This thing is a perfect match for the end of the world. Chen Qing nodded immediately. Give me 4, and you can deliver 3 to the presidential suite of the Aria Hotel later. By the way, take 2 more military shovels. The owner was overjoyed and started selling other things. One of them Chen Qing really needed. A very compact flashlight, including a compass, a knife, a windproof lighter, etc. With a thought in mind, he asked again, is there anything to deal with ghosts? Yes, this spray can make ghosts appear. This peach wood knife is made of old peach wood and soaked in black dog blood for 100 days. This radio wave can emit a frequency that ghosts are very uncomfortable with. With one in hand, ghosts will not invade. Is there such a thing? Is it fake? Even after staying in the ghost tide for 3 months, Chen Qing has never heard of such a thing. And if you add a wire, it can become a radio station. Buy it. Just like that, he bought nearly 300,000 yuan worth of things in this store. Anyway, there are still 7.75 million yuan, so he can do whatever he wants. The owner was so happy that he could jump up. He directly upgraded Chen Qing to a lifetime Supreme member. Maybe he didn't expect that the top brother on the list was so powerful that even the highest level diamond card couldn't bring out his temperament. So after searching for a long time, he found a diamond card numbered 888, which at least highlighted Chen Qing's difference. Originally, it was going to be delivered to the hotel, but he was too lazy to move it to his home later, so he said, "My house is still under renovation. You can deliver it to this address in 20 days. The owner was overjoyed and agreed repeatedly. The old man was so tired that he had to go to the subway. Carrying a military shovel, Chen Qing entered the subway. Ziming City has only one subway line. It was crowded, and Chen Qing was busy transferring the data from his old phone to his new phone. HMPH. A girl stomped her feet in front of him, not knowing whether she was acting coquettishly or angry, but Chen Qing didn't care. But this girl was angry. No, didn't you want to lick the soles of your shoes before? Why don't you pay attention to her now that she has been sent to you? She is naturally Chengxi. She is not a person who gives up easily, especially after she determined that Chen Qing is a super blue chip stock. Chen Qing, I'm sure of it. Even Jesus can't keep him, I said. Chen Qing didn't look up, concentrating on transferring data. The next stop arrived. Chen Qing still didn't look up. Anyway, he was the terminal. Suddenly, Chen Shi snatched the phone and rushed out of the subway. Chen Qing was about to chase, but the figure was just in time, and the subway door just closed, separating the two on both sides. Chen Shi put her feet together, leaned slightly, put one hand behind her back, and shook the phone with the other hand, smiling like a flower. She chuckled and said, "Tomorrow, I'll return your phone to you if you're still here." Several boys in the subway exclaimed, "Wow! This face and figure are too attractive. Who can resist it?" They looked at Chen Qing in surprise, with great envy. More questions: what kind of person can get the favor of such a girl? Chen Qing sneered, directly dialed the police number. At Chengdu Station, a thief stole my new phone. Worth, a satellite phone of 14,999 yuan. Yes, call this number. After saying that, Chen Qing stopped caring. Acting like a spoiled child. Haha, maybe you were fooled in your last life, so you like this kind of stuff. Now go act like a spoiled child to the police. Everyone in the subway was confused. No, this is no longer something a straight man can describe. This is simply a transformer. This beautiful woman is obviously interested in you. What's the matter with calling the police? Detang's surveillance is world famous. Soon, the police locked on the suspect. The facts of the crime could not be clearer. After a short while, the police found Chengxi, who was waiting for the bus. She was confused. "Please come with us. Uncle Police, you got the wrong person, didn't you?" "No, you stole someone's phone. The surveillance camera shows it clearly. Isn't this the one in your hand?" This. Chengxi was speechless. Speechless. This, he is sick. The mind was in a mess. How dare he? How dare he? He actually did this. The scene she just saw was not a whim. This was the best plot she had rehearsed many times in her mind. Girlishness max, vitality max, she didn't believe she couldn't take Chen Qing down. Even if Chen Qing was angry, wouldn't it be just a matter of acting coquettishly? Grab his arm and pretend to rub it against his chest accidentally. One doesn't work, two will. Among the countless subsequent developments, she didn't expect this scene. Let's go. Chengxi was really confused. The police grabbed her arm. She broke free from the police's hand, her eyes reddened. We were just joking. Chen Qing is my friend. No, he's my boyfriend, don't believe me. I still have his phone number. WeChat too. Please come with us. The police didn't get used to her. Cleaning up nightclubs, there are too many such routines. Some grabbed her hands and touched her private parts, some stripped naked and said, "As long as you let me go, I can do anything." What's this level? Numb. If you really want to explain, you can explain it when you get to the police station. Chengxi was really panicked, and was put on the police car, her eyes full of tears. Wrong. Really wrong. As soon as she arrived at the police station, she found Chen Qing's phone and dialed it. She really wanted to ask, "What's going on? Is it that serious?" "It's just turned off. He is really my boyfriend, we were just joking," she cried while taking the statement. "Let's not talk about whether he is your boyfriend or not. Even if he is true, it is a crime." Another policeman glanced at her and said, "This phone is worth 15,000 yuan, and it is a robbery, more than 3 years and less than 10 years. Buzz. Chengxi froze. 3 years. Tears burst out of his eyes. His hands were shaking slightly. On the other side, Chen Qing had already arrived in the east of the city. The yin energy was very heavy. It was like wearing only a thin coat in the early morning of autumn, or suddenly opening the quilt in winter. Having experienced the ghost tide, he knew clearly that it was possible to encounter ghosts even during the day. It was just that the probability was very small. At the beginning of the blood moon ghost tide, the big men in the city planned a counterattack, and this princess's tomb was among them, so Chen Qing knew the route very well. Nowadays, most people have moved into the city, but there are still many villages and people outside the city. There is no way, I can't afford a house in the city. I can't sleep on the street, right? After walking straight for half an hour, Chen Qing came to an abandoned village. Not far from the village, there is a mound with a huge dead locust tree on it. Under this mound is the princess's tomb. Please, just borrow a little ghost energy. Chen Qing thought to himself, folded the military shovel into a hoe shape, and started digging. The top layer of loose soil is easy to dig, but the deeper you go, the more compact the soil becomes. Every time you shovel down, there is a clang, like knocking on a stone. The tombs of big figures are relatively deep, and Chen Qing has made preparations to work for several days in a row. This work soon came to noon. After another shovel, his hand suddenly loosened. "Did you dig a hole?" Quickly clearing the soil layer, Chen Qing found a hole that was slanting downwards and could accommodate one person. A chill spread out of the hole, and goosebumps all over his body stood up collectively. This is ghost energy. Robbery hole. This tomb has obviously been visited by a master. If it were a serious tomb robber, he would cry at this moment, but Chen Qing was full of surprises. The workload that was originally at least 3 or 4 days was done in an instant. There were 2 ghost tides, one in the south and one in the blood moon. The awakening of the ancients occurred in the blood moon ghost tide. When the ghost tide broke out in the south, the ancients did not awaken. The ancients awakened only when the blood moon came. Now the blood moon monitors the ghost energy of the major ghost tide points can also awaken the ancients. These were confirmed by people later. Looking at the ghost energy of this ancient tomb, it should be enough to awaken the demon suppression tower. At the moment, he placed the demon suppression tower at the entrance of the robbery hole and ate compressed biscuits leisurely. Go down. He dared not. Now he is just an ordinary person inside and out. Looking at this ghost energy, there are definitely many wandering souls in it, and there may even be evil ghosts. Wandering souls, right pointing arrow, evil ghosts, right pointing arrow, evil spirits. Wandering souls, especially the first level, can be regarded as newborns of ghosts, chaotic and ignorant, acting on instinct, and rarely hurting people. Compared with wandering souls, evil ghosts have greatly improved their strength and have stronger wisdom. They begin to hunt humans purposefully, because this is their way to improve. For example, after a baby dies, it will become a wandering soul level child ghost, and if the conditions are met, it will evolve into an evil ghost level night crier. They like to eat children the most. There must be a lot of wandering souls in this tomb, and the owner of the tomb is likely to be an evil ghost. Thinking of this, Chen Qing suddenly saw a middle-aged woman not far away looking at him intently. Carrying a backpack and a hoe, she should have just come back from digging wild vegetables. She looked at Chen Qing for a long time, but still left. Chen Qing breathed a sigh of relief. There was no signal on the phone, and I was bored waiting, so I took a nap and dazedly heard someone making noise. Chen Qing looked over and saw a middle-aged woman with a group of people, walking here aggressively. Yes, it's here. I can see it clearly. Is this the tomb robber? You dare to steal our things. You must be tired of living. More than a dozen people, most of them holding hoes, were aggressive. Chen Qing thought it was not good, but he stood up calmly, not panicking at all. Having experienced the end of the world, he especially understood a truth: if your momentum is weaker, the opponent will be 10 times stronger. He silently covered the demon suppression tower and looked at them expressionlessly. What's the matter? The first man had a face full of flesh and shouted angrily, how dare you come to our village to rob tombs? Are you tired of living? Don't talk nonsense with him, beat him to death. Beat him to death. The crowd was indignant. More people have been looking at the tomb behind Chen Qing, their eyes are fiery. Now Chen Qing is just an ordinary person, and he is afraid that he can't beat this kind of strong man. Thinking quickly, he made way and revealed the entrance of the cave. The ghostly aura spread, and even in the middle of the day, I got goosebumps. I'm from the city's ghost control army. We found a lot of evil ghosts here. If you want to live, leave quickly. Yo! Fear flashed across the faces of several people. Ghost. If it was before, this thing was just a trick for children, but now it really exists. Who are you trying to scare in the middle of the day? You're a ghost control army, what the hell? One of them sneered. When the ghost tide started, I was outside the city. I've lived for decades and have seen a lot of ghosts, but I've never seen them touch a hair on my head. Yes, you haven't even grown all your hair yet, and you're pretending to be a ghost control army here. In broad daylight, even if there are ghosts, what can they do? You're just a tomb robber. Get out of the way. The things inside are from our village. Chen Qing frowned. It's been emptied. And, go in, it's going to kill you. Come on. A middle school girl who had been taking pictures of Chen Qing with her mobile phone, just sneered. Just now you were pretending to be a ghost fighting soldier, now you are pretending to be kind. It's really funny. Why are you guarding here? Are you guarding the door for ghosts? The ant who was digging wild vegetables before said angrily, young man, we didn't beat you, which is already a great favor to you, get out of the way. We will pretend that your tomb robbery never happened. If you don't get out of the way, believe it or not, we will tie you up and take you to the police station. Quote. It's hard to persuade the ghost with kind words. Chen Qing shook his head. He picked up the demon suppression tower, the ordnance shovel, biscuits, mineral water, etc. calmly and stood aside. The demon suppression tower should not have awakened yet, so he couldn't leave yet. What are you still doing here? What's wrong? Are you still thinking about the things inside? I've been digging for the whole morning. I'm tired. I'll take a break and leave. Brother Niu, I think this guy is not honest. He might want to take something away. You watch him. Don't worry. If he can take something away today, I'll take his last name. The black and strong man walked directly to Chen Qing and squeezed him twice on purpose, sneering. It's really interesting. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't know that there is a treasure under our feet. Another person also said, you have helped us dig for so long, how about giving you a few dozen yuan for your hard work? At this time, a braver one had turned on the rear light of his mobile phone and got in first. Chen Qing thought it was not good. These birdmen would wake up the things inside in advance. The girl who had been filming the video immediately pointed her camera at him. What do you want to do? Be honest. Article 328, Paragraph 1, the crime of excavating ancient cultural sites and ancient tombs refers to the act of excavating ancient cultural sites and ancient tombs with historical, artistic and scientific value. Depending on the severity of the circumstances, the sentence ranges from less than 3 years to more than 10 years to life imprisonment. I want to take the lawyer exam. Chen Qing wanted to say, aren't you convicting you for what you are doing now? But he just kept silent. He secretly prayed that the demon suppression tower would wake up quickly. There are so many things. The first person to enter suddenly cheered. The sound echoed between the tomb and the robbery hole, buzzing and rumbling, which seemed extremely weird. All the villagers were overjoyed. Cheered collectively. Several people rushed to squeeze into the narrow robbery hole. It's rich. There is hope for my father to move into the city. Soon, the second person who entered also heard an excited voice. Gold. Jade. Jade. Wow. So much gold. We're rich. We're rich. Quick, get the sacks. We're rich. We're rich. The girl filming sneered. Didn't you just say that it had been emptied a long time ago? What about now? Have you ever wondered why there were tomb robbers who had entered, but there were so many things left? Chen Qing asked calmly. The girl was slightly startled. Yes, the tomb robbers' holes proved that tomb robbers had entered. Why were there so many things left inside? She couldn't figure it out, but she said stubbornly, it's none of your business. You're jealous because you can't get anything, right? Boy, have you rested enough? Get out, the dark and strong man also said. The cave. The noise was getting louder. Don't push. Don't push. Be quiet. No matter how much, share it equally. Don't push. I'm rich. This ring is definitely worth a lot of money. This bracelet, was it, flying just now? Only a dozen people got into the cave, but the noise was as loud as that of dozens of people. They were really excited. There's a coffin. Come, everyone, come and push it. With this voice, a ghost aura that was several times stronger than before spread, and everyone shivered. The demon suppression tower shook slightly. Black air gradually filled the body. It's awakening. In the last life, the paper armor and paper knife given by Chen Quan had awakened, and Chen Qing was not unfamiliar with it. To be on the safe side, Chen Qing did not move the demon suppression tower, but was ready to run away at any time. Ah! Suddenly there was a scream. You scared me, what's wrong? She seemed to move just now. What the hell? Really moved. Ghost. Several screams. Everyone's face changed drastically. The demon suppression tower finally changed. The girl who had been taking pictures of Chen Qing was dragged into the cave by something. At the last moment, her hands were hanging on the cave entrance, looking at Chen Qing. Save me. Save me. Chen Qing smiled slightly, threw down the ordnance shovel and other messy things, and ran away madly. Buzz. The whole ground was shaking violently. It was as if a huge monster was about to drill out from the ground. Chen Qing was shocked and jumped half a foot up, almost fell down, and staggered and ran away madly. The screams continued. The few people outside were also out of their wits, and the black and strong man fled frantically. The girl who filmed the video suddenly climbed out of the cave slowly, with a strange face and red eyes. She looked at Chen Qing's back and waved stiffly. Come back, brother. Come back, brother. A dozen voices inside and outside the cave spoke in unison. A faint female voice formed. Chen Qing didn't dare to look back and ran wildly. At a certain moment, all the screams stopped abruptly. The scorching sun was calm. There was no wind on the earth. Only Chen Qing was left gasping for breath, holding the demon suppression tower tightly, and running like crazy. This run was until his lungs were torn and smoke was about to come out of his throat. Chen Qing finally sat on the ground, gasping for breath. Definitely evil ghost level. Those killed by it may also become ghosts. After a while, Chen Qing finally recovered his breath. After walking far enough and almost reaching the city, he looked at the demon suppression tower. He took out the flashlight he had just bought, pulled out the knife, cut a small cut on his fingertips, and smeared the blood on it. He suddenly felt a strange feeling. He weighed the demon suppression tower, small. With this sound, the demon suppression tower, which was the size of a mineral water bottle, immediately shrank by half. Chen Qing was overjoyed. Small. The demon suppression tower became the size of a number 5 battery. Looking at a large stone on the side of the road, he thought, collect. The large stone disappeared immediately and was collected in the tower. They are indeed 2 super ancient artifacts. Chen Qing's heart moved, and he threw it out lightly, and at the same time he thought, big. The next moment, an iron tower as tall as a person hit the ground heavily. Like a sledgehammer falling, sparks flew, and spider web-like cracks appeared on the concrete floor. It is difficult to persuade the ghosts with kind words. The lives of these people have nothing to do with Chen Qing. On the way back to the hotel, Chen Qing came to the outdoor camping store again. The owner naturally welcomed him in like the god of wealth. Do you have a necklace or something else that you can put half a cigarette in and carry with you? Chen Qing showed half a cigarette for comparison. He did not take out the shrunken demon tower, although no one recognized it, but it is better to be safe than sorry. The human heart in the end times is too terrifying. It must be strong, can't be cut by a knife, and is not afraid of water or fire. Yes, the owner immediately found a braided rope. This is called Dynema, a super strong polyethylene fiber, 15 times stronger than steel and stronger than aromatic fiber. Don't look at how thin this rope is, it can easily tow a 5-ton car. He then took out a finger-sized mummy. Press the bottom and turn it counterclockwise to open it. There is a groove inside, big enough to hold half a cigarette. This is called a death necklace. It is said that it was worn by agents in the past. It contains a highly toxic substance that can kill people or commit suicide. Now I heard that extreme enthusiasts will release adrenaline. It can save lives at critical moments. Chen Qing took a look and found that it was just enough to hold the shrunken demon tower. He asked the boss to put it on his neck and said, "Weld it to my neck." Handsome man, think it over. If it's fixed, it will take several days to get it off without professional tools. Yes, everything is done. How much? You are our most valued customer, so it doesn't matter how much money you have. Chen Qing didn't force him. He left directly. Downstairs in the hotel, Chen Qing received a call. It was from Chengxi. As soon as the call was connected, Chengxi's voice of collapse came out. Chen Qing, what do you mean? Woohoo, you fool. You dare to curse. Chen Qing sneered in his heart and hung up directly. The phone rang again. Chen Qing, don't hang up, please don't hang up. Chen Zai's voice was already broken. Please. I was wrong, come and explain. Chen Qing pretended to be confused. What do you mean? Another voice came from the phone. Today you called the police and said someone stole your phone, but this lady said you were boyfriend and girlfriend and were just joking. Please come to the police station. Otherwise, this lady will be sentenced to 3 years at least. After hanging up the phone, Chen Qing was a little surprised. He didn't expect it to be so serious. He thought it would only be detained for 15 days, but he didn't expect it to start from 3 years. Doesn't this mean that she will die in there? That's not a bargain for her. Among the hideous faces in the previous life, only Chen Shi and Chen Kun can't die easily. What's more, this woman Chen Qing is still useful, very useful. Absolutely, can't let her die in the police station. Bah, it's really unlucky. Arriving at the station, Chen Qing saw Chengxi, whose eyes were red and swollen from crying and whose makeup was as smudged as dirt. As soon as she saw Chen Qing, she rushed over. Chen Qing dodged to the side and pushed her hard onto the table beside her, shouting, "What the hell?" Chengxi's hip hit the corner of the table, and her face twitched in pain. Chen Qing, it's me. Chengxi tried to force a smile, but it was uglier than crying. Hey, Chengxi, is your family in financial difficulty? Why are you stealing? Chen Qing looked very disgusted. Robbery. Misunderstanding. Chengxi grimaced in pain. At this time, a middle-aged woman just came out of the toilet and was furious when she saw Chen Qing. Ah, it's you, you fool. The middle-aged woman screamed and started to scratch Chen Qing. It's you who caused Xiaoxi to be locked up. You fool. She was immediately held down. Chen Qing turned around and walked away without saying a word. Chengxi was anxious. The middle-aged woman was also anxious. Stop. The police also stopped Chen Qing. What? Chen Qing frowned. You called the police, and this lady said you were friends and were just joking. Robbery, 3 years. Just do it according to this. I get annoyed when I see this woman. Chen Qing pointed at the middle-aged woman who was throwing a tantrum, and was too lazy to argue, and walked away again. You just want to extort money. We'll give it to you. Chengxi quickly stopped her. Mom, don't make trouble. I'm not short of money. I wanted to explain. I have been released, but I don't want to think about it now. Chen Qing sneered. The facts are clear, the evidence is conclusive, just 3 years. The middle-aged woman was very angry. The hand pointing at Chen Qing was shaking. You. If you say one more word, I will turn around and leave. Chen Qing smiled and looked at the middle-aged woman. Please apologize for your behavior just now. Apologize? No way. You are a dog that killed your parents. Chen Qing turned around and left again. Come back to me. Chen Qing didn't indulge them. Shut down the phone and returned to the hotel. Chen Qing, you are back. Chen Man said expressionlessly. He was doing his homework while gnawing on a chicken leg, and there was a waiter sitting next to him to tutor him. A waiter smiled bitterly at Chen Cheng. Sitting here to tutor Chen Man's homework was more tiring than working 2 night shifts. You've worked hard, you can go out. Chen Cheng casually took out 200 yuan bills. The waiter took them and left with a smile. Before Chen Cheng and Chen Man could say a few words, there was a knock on the door. Chen Cheng looked and saw 2 policemen. One old and one young. Young man, don't be so impulsive. The old policeman said kindly, if you can mediate, mediate. Would you feel comfortable if you put a little girl in prison for a few years? Chen Cheng thought seriously. I would feel very comfortable. That's right. The old policeman paused. One sentence disrupted all his subsequent words. The tried and true rhetoric had a bug. The scene became awkward for no reason. The young policeman took over the conversation. Excuse me, how do you want to solve it? Chen Cheng saw someone hiding at the entrance of the corridor not far away. Definitely apologize. The daughter robbed, the mother beat and cursed. What kind of family would teach such an uneducated person? Quote. The figure not far away was shaking, so angry. Chen Cheng felt even more relieved. Did you see the menopausal woman today? She was so frightened. I thought a ghost was coming. My cat is not so fierce when she is in heat. The figure was shaking even more. Cough, cough. The policeman coughed awkwardly twice and waved his hands repeatedly. Okay, don't talk nonsense. Waved to the back. You Jinxiu, come and apologize. Sure enough, it was the middle-aged woman. Her face was flushed and her hands were shaking. He said heavily, I'm sorry. Chen Cheng closed the door directly. Hey. The young policeman put his foot on the door and frowned. What do you mean? Didn't you see how she apologized? Quote. Chen Cheng sneered. Who the hell are you trying to save face for? The old policeman looked dissatisfied, looked at Chen Cheng, and then looked at the middle-aged woman. If the mediation fails this time, I won't care, and your daughter will really go to jail. The middle-aged woman's face changed when she heard this. She took a few deep breaths, and gritted her teeth. I'm sorry. Chen Cheng cleaned the mud that got into her nails when digging the ground, and didn't even look at her. Not sincere enough. The middle-aged woman was so angry that her whole body was shaking, and she took a few deep breaths. I was wrong about what happened today. I apologize to you, sorry. What about scolding my parents? Chen Cheng flicked out a few pieces of black mud. You said I was a dog who killed my parents. The woman was slightly stunned, took a long breath, her body trembled, and her voice was crying. I am a dog. I am a dog. I am the dog who killed my parents. Is it done? Quote. She tried to look at Chen Cheng calmly, her eyes red. Chen Cheng smiled. No, you fool, do you always apologize like you want to kill someone? The woman clenched her fists tightly, her nails digging into her flesh. She wiped her face hard. I'm sorry, I have a foul mouth. I said something I shouldn't have said today, please forgive me. Pa. As she spoke, the woman slapped herself hard. Pa. Chen Cheng looked at her calmly, indifferent. Is that enough? The old policeman frowned. Just make do with it. Chen Cheng smiled, and said, I'm more satisfied with this. Let's leave. Chapter 11. The case was withdrawn. Chen Cheng signed a mediation agreement. Chen's eyes were red and swollen, and her makeup was smudged like a sewage ditch. Yu Jinsho's eyes were also red and her cheeks were swollen. Chen Cheng had no pity in his heart. Compared with his own and Chen Man's lives, this was nothing. Not even enough for the interest. But this didn't affect today's game. I was very happy. He went back to the hotel humming a song. Tomorrow is July 24th, and I have to test my talent. I have to rest early today. 24th. Chen Cheng always felt that he seemed to have missed something. I couldn't remember it, so I gave up. After dinner, I took Chen Man out for a walk. It was bustling and lively, and the fireworks were warm. Various shops were brightly lit, neon lights were bright, and the hawkers were shouting. What an ordinary scene, but a month later, this scene will be completely extinct on this land. Now there are oranges in the trash can that no one wants because they are rotten. Someone will fight for them. The white banknotes and the noble and elegant clothes in the window, will anyone want them then? Looking at the little fat man next to him, he really has never enjoyed a day of happiness. Stupid, but sensible. He has always worked very hard, but he is stupid and can't do many things well. Sometimes life is too difficult. Chen Qing will scold Chen Shan and Chen Quan for abandoning them. But Chen Man has never blamed anyone. He didn't blame Chen Shan when he picked up the bottles. When no one cooks, he will cook obediently. When there is no food at home, he will find a way to pick up something to sell. Then they bought steamed buns. If the money was enough, he would have one and Chen Qing would have one. If the money was not enough, he would have half and Chen Qing would have half. Even in the last life, when Chen Qing pressed him on the knife and died with him, he did not complain. He just hugged Chen Qing tightly. Now that the two super ancient artifacts were in hand, Chen Qing had to take him to enjoy the last prosperous life. Chen Qing squatted down and hugged him. Xiao Man, what do you want? What do you want to eat? What do you want to play? Tell me everything. Janbing Guozi, add an egg. We can eat better. Do you like KFC? How about ice cream? Too expensive. Have you forgotten that I have super money now? Okay then. Chen Qing did not mention steak or anything. He knew Chen Man would not like it. Chen Qing was very relaxed that night. He picked out several sets of clothes for Chen Man in the most expensive mall. The texture is soft and there is no smell of paint. He bought Chen Man the most expensive children's watch. It can make calls and play games. He bought Chen Man a small bicycle. Although it needs training wheels to ride steadily. He bought Chen Man the softest and whitest socks. He bought the brightest shoes and the biggest balloons. Looking at the clean and bright little fat boy, Chen Qing also had a smile on his face. He should have lived such a life very early. How should children of this age live? Chen Man never had a reference answer, so he never corrected his life trajectory. So in his small world, there have always been empty bottles, cooking, and occasionally some cartoons or animal world. He will not say a word when beaten, and will not fight back when scolded, but just work hard on his homework. Chen Qing carried large and small bags, which were full of Chen Man's things. At this moment, he was so satisfied. Passing by the door of the lottery shop, Chen Qing was suddenly startled. He remembered what he missed. Lottery. The lottery ticket of the 24th. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 33. Except for the last one, the first 6 numbers are consecutive. At that time, he also complained that such neat numbers were definitely man-made. So I remember it very clearly. At that moment, Chen Qing bought 5 bets. He didn't get more. Tisk tisk, 25 million, just got it like this. This world is really bizarre. Sighed, and took Chen Man back to the hotel. Chen Man's belly was full of food. It was the first time in history that he ate so well and so much. So full. Chen Qing, I'm sleepy. Good night Chen Qing. Good night, Xiao Man. Take out the demon suppression tower and start the experiment. There is no doubt that the demon suppression tower has a storage function. What Chen Qing wants to confirm is the speed of time flow inside. I took out the mechanical timer and turned the pointer to 0, and took a cup of boiling water. Entered the demon suppression tower. Wait 10 minutes, then take out the things. No change at all. No. Yes. The pointer seems to have moved a little bit. After thinking about it, he reset the timer to 0 and put it back into the space. Wait and see tomorrow. If the time in the tower is static, that would be the best. Find some big hotels, book hundreds of tables, and have Chen Man and the chef who can eat for decades customize it. If time is not static, then you have to consider canned food, seeds and the like. Everything will be clear tomorrow. The next day. As soon as Chen Qing woke up, he opened the necklace and took out the timer from the demon suppression tower. The pointer pointed to a position of about 4 seconds. Subtracting the time of putting in and taking out, the real time may be less than 2 seconds. I slept for more than 8 hours, and if it is calculated as 2 seconds, the time difference is nearly 15,000 times. This means that hot dishes can be kept warm for about 300 days. If we go by the degree of no deterioration, 30 years can still be considered fresh. According to the speed of time, 40 years has only passed 1 day. Very comfortable. I have to get more pancakes and Western fast food that Chen Man likes. After confirming the function of the demon suppression tower, the next step is to purchase goods. Now I still have 7.7 million in my hand, I have to exchange as much money as possible for something. For example, pig feed. But I have to go to test my talent in the morning. I must learn the art of contracting ghosts. Today is Sunday. But the school is very lively. With spiritual power talent, you can join the Ghost Control Army, the Ghost Extermination Team, and the Martial Arts School. No matter which one, it is a step to heaven. In his previous life, Chen Qing gave up the test. First, he thought that if he left, Chen Man would have no one to take care of him. Second, it was because of inferiority. In fact, Chen Qing's confidence was built up thanks to the end of the world. It was because of countless desperate fights that he stood firm step by step and gained confidence. Chen Qing, I thought something was wrong with you. A sturdy boy came over. Hu Tianyi, Monkey, his brother. Monkey, Chen Qing was stunned. Best friends since childhood. When those people came in that day, they were already covered in blood and holding Monkey's knife. Monkey probably died in the hands of these people. Chen Qing hugged Monkey tightly. Good brother. So disgusting. Let go. I have a normal orientation. We're lip friendship. Let go. After a while, Monkey said, how about trying it for real? I hit the nail on the head, and you welcome me. Chen Qing felt a chill and finally let go. At this time, the person on the flag-raising platform spoke. The one who will test your talents today is the captain of the 5th team of the Ghost Control Army, Han Yuan. A burly man with thick eyebrows and big eyes stood on the flag-raising platform. Chen Qing was stunned. He is actually the captain. In the previous life, Chen Qing followed Han Yuan. Chen Qing lived to the 3rd blood moon ghost tide, but Han Yuan died in the 2nd ghost tide. Because his ghost rebelled, that evil spirit level terrifying existence. And this ghost came from the Demon Suppression Tower. Han Yuan was the owner of the Demon Suppression Tower in the previous life. On the flag-raising platform, Han Yuan was talking. In the same weight class, you can hardly find a species more vulnerable than humans. Not to mention the terrifying ghosts. And the reason why humans have been able to resist ghosts for so many years is because of their powerful souls. Soul movement, spirit, and ghost spring. But the premise of cultivation is that you have to have this talent. As long as the talent reaches sea level, you can become a reserve of the Ghost Control Army and the Ghost Extermination Team, and add 50 points to the college entrance examination. If the talent reaches B level, you can become a formal member of the Ghost Control Army and the Ghost Extermination Team, and add 100 points to the college entrance examination. Reaching a level, believe me, it will definitely exceed your imagination. Han Yuan smiled mysteriously and stopped talking. The crowd was agitated. Everyone had heard what he said, but when a captain of the Ghost Guard said it to them, it felt different. Start now. The test was simple, just put your hand on the huge ghost bead on the flag-raising platform. The ghost bead was translucent, with gray-black mist slowly rolling inside. A student went up to test it, but there was no change. Then the second, the third. When the fourth one came, the mist seemed to be blown away and dispersed slightly. Wait, the staff waved. Try again. The student was full of excitement and touched other places again. No matter where he touched, the gray-black mist was pushed away through the glass, as if hiding from his hand. This is the manifestation of spiritual power leakage. Han Yuan said loudly, only in this way can we practice. His energy level is only C. But this does not mean that his future will be bad. Just like IQ, people with high IQ will learn more easily, but it does not mean that he will get the first place in the exam. Energy level can be improved, and those with low IQ do not need to be discouraged. Next one. People walked up one after another. The proportion of talented people is about 20%. But most of them are C level. Occasionally there is AB, which arouses everyone's amazement. At this time, another person walked up, and just put his hand on it. The mist in the ghost bead was like being blown by the wind and rolled up quickly. Energy level A. Everyone exclaimed. The big guy is here. This is great. Others are like blowing a breath, and he is like turning on an electric fan. Another person went up. Chen Qing frowned. Chen Kun. Chen Zai's younger brother. The second one on the must-kill list. He was the one who stabbed the knife into Chen Qing's chest. Chen Kun was a little nervous, took a deep breath, and put his hand on it. The ghost bead shook slightly. and the mist inside rolled wildly. Is this a bug? No way, no way, this is another A level. Everyone was amazed, and Chen Kun was also surprised, but it immediately turned into a surprise. Han Yuan was also a little surprised, and said in surprise, there is actually an S level 1. Everyone was shocked when they heard that it was S level. Teacher, is S level the highest level? How low is this ratio? Is it a 1 in a million qualification? Don't worry about this. Han Yuan waved his hand. High talent will definitely increase the speed of cultivation, but it is not the only condition, and it cannot be concluded that his future achievements will be higher than others. Although he said so, everyone was cheering. They have seen too many plots like this. Doesn't it always say in novels that such people can practice for one day as well as others who practice for several days? Chen Qing had no expression. Whether you are a rookie or a genius, I will skin you alive. It's so unlucky. The monkey spat. Chen Kun and him don't get along very well. After a few more curses, it was his turn. The monkey put his hand on the ghost bead indifferently. The ghost bead rolled gently. Energy level C. Next one. The monkey was slightly stunned, and then overjoyed. I'm going to bring honor to my family. The next one is Chen Qing. Chen Qing knew that he had talent, so Han Yuan gave him a low-level technique in his previous life. But it was too late at that time, and he couldn't practice anything. Han Yuan looked at Chen Qing and felt that he looked familiar for some reason. Chen Qing put his hand on it. It was like turning on a hair dryer, and the mist in the ghost bead rolled up. Here we go again! Exclamation mark quote. Another S appears. The boss is here. Han Yuan and several staff members were a little surprised. Still said, energy level S. 6 Xiao Qingzi. Monkey immediately ran over to congratulate. As the boss still accepting younger brothers. Chen Qing, you can do it. The head teacher Shi Zhilang also came. He patted Chen Qing's shoulder heavily. See. That's why I let you take the test. Chen Qing. Chen Kun suddenly came over and looked at Chen Qing coldly, with fire in his eyes almost bursting out. You are the one who hurt my mother and sister. I didn't hit them. Chen Qing shook his head sincerely. Your mother hit me when she apologized to me, one slap on the left and one on the right, oh yes. Not only did she hit me, she also said, I am the dog, snap. You are generous, snap. Quote. Chen Qing described it vividly. Looked at him calmly. Chen Kun had already clenched his fists in anger. He rushed over. Chen Qing raised his foot and kicked him hard in the thigh. Chen Kun staggered back a few steps, holding his thigh, his face twitching in pain. No, is there really someone in your family who was born without anyone to teach him? Chen Qing frowned and said, your sister steals things when she disagrees with you, your mother makes a scene at the police station, and you curse other people's mothers at every turn. Can you still have some manners? I'll teach your mother how to raise her. Chen Kun was so angry that he was confused, and rushed up again with one leg limping. Pa! Chen Qing slapped him on the nose. The nose is fragile, and it is connected to the tear glands. Chen Kun burst into tears. Afraid that others would see it, he suddenly covered his face and squatted down. Chen Qing held his hands with both hands and slowly opened them. The tears and snot suddenly appeared in front of everyone. Don't cry. How boring are you? Chen Qing comforted. Okay, I won't hit you, okay. Like a parent coaxing a child. You. Chen Kun wiped it heavily with his sleeves, pointed at Chen Qing, and gritted his teeth. Chen Qing raised a palm and pretended to hit. Chen Kun subconsciously stepped back. Look, you can't beat me, and you are as cowardly as a dog, and you are calling your mother here. Quote. Chen Qing cursed, waved his hand, turned around and ignored him. Shi Zhilang and Monkey were shocked to see all this. Chen Qing, how did he change? That silent, submissive boy who would swallow everything. How did he suddenly become like this? Arrogant, wanton, as if he was covered with wind, rustling. Are you okay? Monkey looked at Chen Qing in surprise and asked carefully. Chen Qing was silent. I'm okay. How is it possible? Which person who changes his temperament drastically doesn't have a lot of bitterness behind him? But he is not a person who likes to open his heart, just shook his head. You won't believe it even if I tell you. Student Chen Qing, Student Chen Kun, Student Yang Xingshui, Student Huang Sha. The staff read out a lot of names. Please come to the stage. Chen Qing. Zhilang immediately shouted. They are probably going to pull you into the ghost control army, don't rush to agree. Wait a few days and see if the martial arts school can offer better conditions. Martial arts school. Chen Qing would not consider it. When they entered the martial arts school, the blood moon came. Several people went on stage. Chen Kun didn't want to stay with Chen Qing at this moment, so he deliberately took a few steps late and hung far behind. Just like Zhilang said, Han Yuan wanted to pull them into the ghost control army. All the students were shaking their heads. Just like Zhilang said, they all regarded themselves as goods at this moment, waiting for the price. But Chen Qing was very firm. I only have one condition. Oh, Han Yuan looked over. I can choose any martial arts in the ghost control army. That's a must. Martial arts, aren't these things given to people to learn? Hello, boss. Chen Qing punched his chest and saluted. Han Yuan was surprised that Chen Qing knew the salute of the ghost control team, but he immediately returned the salute. Welcome to the team. Several people behind him also stood up and saluted together. Welcome to the team. Everyone smiled at each other, and seeing that everyone was laughing, they laughed even louder. This feeling is very wonderful. It's like crossing thousands of mountains and rivers and meeting an old friend by chance. The two of them were so busy that they had to face each other. Zhilang looked at them from a distance, a little lost in thought. Chen Qing was not a worry-free student. As an orphan, no one taught him how to use chopsticks, no one taught him that spicy strips were junk food, and no one taught him how to mend his pants when they were torn. When others were just learning to speak, they would be taught by adults to call uncle and aunt. Orphans would spend a long time learning these basic things from the cold eyes. So Chen Qing was not a worry-free student. Sensitive, inferior, and had various problems. But the one that parents love the most is often the one who has the least prospects and all kinds of problems. So Zhilang protected Chen Qing, almost openly. As long as he was there, no one could bully Chen Qing. But now, looking at the arrogant and wanton boy on the stage, he suddenly smiled. This guy who lost his father and mother and had to take care of his younger brother seemed to have no need to worry about it in the future. On the way back, Chen Qing called Monkey. Monkey, do you believe me? The monkey was startled and grinned. Tell me what's the matter first, and then I'll decide whether to believe it or not. Stock up more food, instant noodles, canned food, the longer they can be preserved, the better. No problem. Monkey nodded. I'll approve this little thing. If conditions permit, your family can consider building a safe house. Safe house. Monkey frowned. This is not a small project. Do you have any gossip? Not gossip. I'm afraid it will be difficult this time. Chen Qing didn't say too much. After all, it was too bizarre. Monkey nodded. I'll do some ideological work on them. Chen Qing sent a text message to Zhilang again, asking him to stock up more food. He didn't give a specific reason. Zhilang replied with one word, okay. Monkey's home is also in Zhongpan community, but Chen Qing is staying in a hotel now, so they are not on the same road and separated at the intersection. While on the road, Chen Qing called Manager Yang. Manager Yang, do you have any reliable pig feed manufacturers? Do you really want to buy? No, I'm just curious and want to prepare a little bit. You know, I have a bit of paranoia. Yes, soon. Manager Yang sent a PDF document. It was not convenient to look at it carefully on the road, but a rough look showed that there were more than 10 pig feed manufacturers on it. Back at the hotel, Chen Man had a luxurious lunch in front of him and was eating with his mouth full of oil. Chen Qing also sat down, grabbed a tomahawk steak and started to eat it, while looking at the PDF. Among these manufacturers, 2 are more suitable, local, with suitable prices and scale. Called one and asked the price. How much do you want? 1,000 tons. 3 million. What if you add meat to it? The man was slightly startled, and his tone was a little impatient. You add meat to your pig feed. You have nothing to do, right? No kidding, I was introduced by Manager Yang of 300 guards. Oh, it's not commercial meat, zombie meat, or those old frozen fish and meat. If you have a way, you can also use the scraps from the processing plant. It's really strange, someone adds meat to pig feed these days. This customer service is a little arrogant. Okay, let's discuss it and get back to you before tomorrow. After hanging up the phone, Chen Qing breathed a sigh of relief. People will feel weak if they don't have meat for a long time. If you eat sparingly, 10 adults consume 1 ton a year, and 1,000 tons is enough to support a community. Human qi and blood are the support of everything. Without qi and blood support, even the strongest formation will be broken. Generally, evil spirits dare not approach places with sufficient popularity. For example, military camps, schools. But the money is not enough, and he has to find a loan shark company to get some more money. Chen Qing was about to make a second call, when the necklace on his chest suddenly vibrated slightly. Chen Qing was startled, and then his heart tightened. There is a ghost. There is a ghost here. A strange but cheerful voice sounded. Jinbu, Huan, Jinbu, Huan, Jinbu, Huan, Jinbu, Huan. A ghost half a meter tall, skinny and short, ragged all over, carrying a huge bag with a diameter of 1 meter suddenly appeared in the house. Is it Jinbuhuan? Chen Qing was slightly stunned. Jinbuhuan, he shouted, but there was no response. Jinbu, Huan, Jinbuhuan, Jinbu, Huan, Jinbuhuan. Jinbuhuan said as he jumped high into a slipper and disappeared. The slipper naturally became a pure gold slipper. He weighed the golden slipper and it weighed about 10 pounds. Gold has a high density and the slipper has a thick sole. Now that he is not short of money, he does not need to rush to sell it. He just put it into the demon suppression tower. Chen Qing came to the Zhongpan community. The construction of his own safe house is in full swing and the progress is gratifying. After thinking about it, Chen Qing turned into the battery car shed in the northeast corner of the community. When he came to the back of the battery car shed, Chen Qing saw a familiar figure. Blind Uncle Shaw. In the end of the world there were probably only 2 people who didn't betray Chen Qing, Monkey and Uncle Shaw. In Zhongpan community, there was actually a relative of Chen Qing, Aunt. When Chen Qing was 13 years old, there was a period when he really ran out of food. Chen Qing shamelessly went to his aunt's house and begged her to lend him 200 yuan with his remaining dignity. But all he got in return was humiliation. Especially when Chen Qing went out and hid in the corridor in a daze, he heard his aunt laughing at home. Every word was deeply engraved in Chen Qing's mind. That fool has been targeting me since she was a child. She is better than me in every way. Ha ha ha, look, now she has come to my door to beg. Quote. That winter, Chen Qing once thought that he and Chen Man would die. It was at this time that Uncle Shaw gave him a pile of dirty and smelly small bills, a total of 48 yuan and 50 fen. There were even 2 children's toy bills. So, when the blood moon came, Chen Qing would eat only when Uncle Shaw was full. If Uncle Shaw had not always disagreed, he would have taken him home long ago. At this moment, Uncle Shaw was cooking. A blind man living alone must have very poor hygiene. The water in the pot was turbid. He fumbled to put the small pot on the stove made of 3 bricks, and fumbled with a lighter for a long time before he lit the wood blocks under the pot. The wood blocks should be leftover building materials. In the process, the lighter burned his hand, but perhaps he was used to it, so he just shook his hand and ignored it. When the water in the pot started to bubble, Uncle Shaw tore open a bag of wrinkled instant noodles, fumbled to put the noodles, and then put the seasoning bags in one by one. He shook the instant noodles in the bag into his hand and ate it, and licked the seasoning bags clean. After waiting for a while, Uncle Shaw took out a wooden board, pushed the ashes over to cover the fire, and then took out a pair of disposable chopsticks from a large bag next to him. Just as he was about to eat, he suddenly frowned. Who? Chen Qing took a deep breath, smiled, and said, Uncle Shaw, it's me. Chen Qing. Uncle Shaw immediately called. Come on, do you want to eat noodles? Chen Qing went over and sat down on a brown sofa with black and broken leather, and smiled. How are you recently? Quote. It's a mess here, but Chen Qing knows that nothing can be moved. Because Uncle Shaw has already memorized the location of everything, even if it is moved a little, it will cause trouble. Chen Qing is thinking about how to give him money. Unlike other people in need, Uncle Shaw is a strong and stubborn man. Even Chen Qing is full of inferiority. But what about Uncle Shaw? Although he is blind, he is loud wherever he goes, like a flag stuck in a garbage dump. You haven't been here for a while. Chen Man came here once a few days ago and gave me a cake. Ah, Chen Qing was a little surprised. Don't look at this kid as if he is missing a nerve, he will become a great man when he grows up. Uncle Shaw smiled. What about you? You should have tested your talent. What's the result? Passed. Talent is S level. Very good, right? Really? Uncle Shaw was overjoyed. See. After the worst comes the best. After the worst comes the best. Quote. Chen Qing suddenly had an idea. Uncle Shaw, it's like this. If you have a talent, they will give you a shopping card, but the shopping card is about to expire. I bought a lot of things, and some of them can't be eaten. Give me the things you can't finish. You little. Okay, I'll send it to you right away. At that moment, Chen Qing came to the supermarket and didn't choose expensive things, but only things like biscuits, instant noodles, bread, ham sausage, self-heating rice, etc. When the 2 big bags were delivered to Uncle Shaw was very happy. After a while of greeting, Chen Qing said goodbye and left. Uncle Shaw faced the direction where Chen Qing left, touched the 2 big bags, and was silent. After a long time, he sighed. How can the ghost guard give shopping cards, and give expired shopping cards? I'm just blind, but my heart is not blind. Quote, he said, and bowed to a broken Buddha statue in the corner. The world is not peaceful. I hope the 2 children are safe and healthy. After all, he is a blind man, and I can't give him too much money, for fear of being targeted. Let's do it this way before the blood moon. When the blood moon is coming, I will tie him up and take him home. Thinking of this, the feed factory called and said, it can be done. According to your needs, the meat content can be about 8%, and it will be 320 yuan more per ton. So little. Chen Qing was stunned. It was originally sold for 3,000 yuan per ton, but adding meat only increased it by 10%. But thinking about it carefully, it is not surprising. First, the meat content is low, and second, the meat used is not good meat. Let's call it 3,300. Let's do 1,000 tons first. Please send me your card number. The other party was slightly stunned. It was the first time he saw someone talking about business like this. But he still sent the account number immediately. 3.3 million was transferred immediately. Soon the phone rang again, and this time the tone became much more polite. Sir, I don't know what to call you. Speaking of this, he himself felt it was outrageous. You don't even know your last name, and you directly called 3.3 million. Aren't you afraid that we are scammers? My last name is Chen. Time is a bit tight. You should arrange production quickly. Just notify me when the production is ready. Okay, I'll send you a 24-hour number. You can tell me if you have any instructions. After hanging up the phone, Chen Qing called Manager Yang again. Manager Yang, do you have an empty warehouse that I can use? 1 week at most. Yes, there are 3 empty warehouses in the North City high-tech zone. You can go anytime. I'll say hello anytime. Thank you. Where is it? Without delay, he took a taxi to the high-tech zone according to the address. Before the ghost tide, this place was almost non-stop 24 hours a day. Although the ghost tide in the north has little impact, looking at the vacancy rate of warehouses now, you can see that it has already affected all aspects. The 3 warehouses are all large, with tens of thousands of square meters, and what Chen Qing likes most is the conveyor belt. It is directly connected from the back door of the warehouse to the front door. The best thing is that the conveyor belt will pass through 2 security inspection machines, and the entire warehouse is divided into 3 areas with 2 security inspection machines as the boundary. The 3 areas cannot see each other. In short, just let them pack the vegetables and put them on the conveyor belt. Chen Qing found a phone number. I have VIP card number 527. Are there any discounts for booking a table in your hotel? Yes, sir. As long as you are in the city, we can pack and deliver a full table, and compensate for overtime. If there are more than 50 tables, we also have mobile food trucks that can cook on the spot. Chen Qing knew this and asked again, how much is a table? Depending on the dishes, there are 5 levels, from 688 to 4,888. The standard for a table of 688 is. You mean 4,888? Ah, each table of 4,888 yuan has a total of 18 dishes, exquisite 8 cold dishes, garlic fried large Australian lobster, white boiled shrimp, wine-flavored fresh fish, wadiao treasure crab, secret sauce ox head, scallion oil dalian abalone, lotus stewed turtle. Absolutely delicacies from the mountains and the sea. But it all sounds too gout-like. He asked about other dishes of different grades. The 688 ones were all home-cooked dishes such as sweet and sour spare ribs, twice-cooked pork, and yuanzi soup. On the contrary, they suited his taste the most. Is it really the fate of the poor? The 4,888 ones, 100 tables. The 1288 ones are for 500 tables. The 688 ones are for 1,000 tables. Ah, sir, are you sure? The other party was slightly stunned. 100 tables are already considered a large banquet. I have never heard of a scale of 1,600 tables. And, the most taboo thing about banquets is that different tables have different grades. If you don't have money, you would rather cut the dishes on each table in half or downgrade them by 2 grades, rather than have some tables better and some tables lower. So now I just think Chen Qing is just making a harassing call for fun. Or a scam call. Of course, in the service industry, he can only smile along. Then come to the warehouse area of the high-tech zone, Area C, Warehouse 2 to 11. I'm sorry, sir, because the quantity you ordered is a bit exaggerated, we need to collect a deposit before we can come. Oh, how much? The total price is 1.82 million, and a 20% deposit is required. That is 364,000. What is your account number? The operator reported the account number and sneered in his heart. This kind of fraud is really too old-fashioned. Maybe they will say something like freezing the bank card, and then there will be a lot of old-fashioned scams, such as clicking on the link in the text message. Just as he was thinking, a voice suddenly shouted, "There is a big order for 1,600 tables in the warehouse area. Are you going to treat the whole city to a feast?" The operator was stunned. What, isn't this a complete liar? How can he be so serious? Quick, everyone, get moving. Chef Group 1 will take 100 tables of home-cooked food ingredients first, and the others will go to purchase materials. Call all suppliers and make sure to guarantee this order. The operator was slightly startled and hesitated. Is it a liar? The deposit has been paid. You are a liar. The whole hotel became busy. Everyone was surprised. 1,600 tables, is this going to treat the whole city to a feast? The hotel was very fast, and the mobile food truck quickly arrived at the warehouse area, but several chefs were a little dumbfounded. Where are the people? Just one. Where are the people for the feast? Mr. Chen, where are the people who are going to the banquet? This is an urgent task, don't worry about it, just pack each portion and put it on the conveyor belt. Someone will take it away at the back of the warehouse. You are in the loading and unloading area in front, and it is strictly forbidden to come to the back to watch. Don't think too much, don't ask too much, don't be curious. The chef's heart skipped a beat, and he immediately had many guesses. The look he gave Chen Qing was very different. Could it be the Ghost Control Army? This young man is so young, I'm afraid he is already a big shot in the Ghost Control Army. He was curious in his heart, but he resisted asking, and just asked his companions to start setting up. This is a semi-trailer van. After the switch was turned on, the doors on both sides opened, and gradually stretched out with a rumbling sound, forming a space of about 7 meters * 7 meters. The chefs moved quickly and soon got busy. The sound of preparing dishes soon became a chorus. The conveyor belts in the warehouse were covered with plastic sheets, and they looked very new after being opened. And the meals were packed, so there was no need to worry even if there was dust. Whoosh, boom, the fire started. The fire was strong, and the dishes were served quickly. Soon, the first dish passed through most of the warehouse and came to Chen Qing. When he opened it, he saw that it was stir-fried pork slices, hot and fragrant. Chen Qing was very satisfied and put it into the demon suppression tower. The time velocity difference of 15,000 times means that even if it is taken out 10 or 20 years later, the dish will still be hot. Chen Man and I can spend the rest of our lives comfortably. Then the second, third, the 100th, 200th. 2 hours later, the speed of serving the dishes suddenly doubled. It should be the second batch of people who arrived. It was so busy that it soon reached the evening. He called Chen Man and told him to eat and sleep by himself. Chen Qing casually picked up 2 boxes. Back to work. This is using telekinesis to collect dishes. Chen Qing is extremely tired at this moment, but it seems that his telekinesis is getting stronger. Could this also be considered a kind of practice? The chefs in the dining car were sweating through several layers of clothes. Like Chen Qing, the chefs in the dining car were sweating through several layers of clothes. Everyone was exhausted. Snap, snap, snap. The manager appeared, clapping his hands, and suddenly smiled. Everyone, listen up. Hey, keep your hands and ears. The chairman knows about this order. He said that if you complete this order, everyone will get a bonus of 10,000 yuan. Wow, what, 10,000, awesome, long live the chairman. I'm going to die on this dining car today. Come on, brothers. Everyone was boiling. The chef seemed to have thought of something, and he leaned over and asked softly, is that young man from a prominent family? He's probably from the Ghost Control Army. The manager whispered, the Ghost Control Army has been making frequent moves recently, and they're probably going to do something big. I guess all this is for the Ghost Control Army to eat. Why don't you just go to the army? Isn't it better to do it now? If you can do it on the spot, what do you want to say? The manager rolled his eyes at him, don't ask about things in the underworld. As he was talking, the phone rang. It was the chairman calling. Even though he couldn't see it, the manager naturally lowered his waist when he answered the phone. Xiao Jin, this must be done. Must be done. Must be done, understand? Hey, don't worry, chairman, I guarantee it with my head. I wish I could come here in person, but since they didn't get through the official channels, I can't show up either. Anyway, remember, if this order is done, we may be able to get in touch with this line. Understood. Definitely done. The chairman was very worried and reminded. Recently, there are many more ghost-controlling soldiers in the city. According to several bigwigs, the ghost-controlling soldiers may take over Ziming City. In short, no matter what the young man says, it is impossible to do it. Do as ordered. Don't ask, don't be curious, just do your job honestly, it's better than flattering 10,000 people. Understood, understood. The manager put down the phone, got into the dining car again, and emphasized, hold your hats tightly, I know everyone is hot, but you must maintain hygiene. No hair or anything can fall off. Ayu, go and get another 10 cans of gas, and 20 kilograms of onions and 200 kilograms of potatoes, you pick them yourself, the best ones. Xiao Qin, the meat cubes should be finer. Chen Qing, who was about to yawn, suddenly slapped his forehead. While collecting the dishes, he turned on his mobile phone. Chen Man loves KFC the most, but he forgot to order it. So, he ordered 100 family buckets in 21 stores in the city. He called again and asked the manager to help put it on the conveyor belt. The manager's attitude was so good. You can almost hear him bowing over the phone. Chen Qing was very puzzled. Is the service industry so crowded now? But soon, a phone call came. Sorry sir, we don't have enough 100 family buckets in our store, please cancel it, or order 50. There were many similar calls received. But in the end, more than 1,600 were ordered. Chen Qing thought about it and simply ordered a bucket according to the takeout order. What skewers, braised food, fried chicken, ice cream, milk tea, fried rice, cakes. All in huge quantities. At the entrance of KFC in Chungbei Square, 8 delivery men were a little curious. Are you also in Warehouse C? You too. Amazing. Is it popular to eat KFC at banquets now? Let's go and have a look. The more they walked, the more surprised they were. Because more and more delivery men joined this team. Soon, they gathered into an army of electric vehicles. Warehouse C. You too. The closer we got to the high-tech zone, the more surprised everyone was. Later, there was no need to ask any more questions. When I was in elementary school, I wrote a novel about a rich man. In order to highlight his wealth, I said that he ate 100 buckets a day. I actually saw it happen in my lifetime. When we arrived at Warehouse C, the electric vehicles were already stuck in a mess. The manager had to start directing traffic and directing everyone to put everything on the conveyor belt. Almost everyone was asking who the Chen who ordered the food was. But the manager just said with a frown, don't ask about the affairs of the underworld. Don't ask about the affairs of the underworld. Don't ask about the affairs of the underworld. At 9 o'clock in the evening, a group of helpers were invited from other hotels. The speed was much faster. Finally, at 2 o'clock in the morning, everything was over. Everyone was exhausted, including Chen Qing. After using telekinesis intensively all day, his brain was itchy and felt like something was growing. The manager's voice was hoarse, but he still called Chen Qing. Mr. Chen, the orders have all been completed. Can you sign for them? Chen Qing quickly came to the warehouse, but saw dozens of chefs, and they were not dressed in uniform, obviously from different hotels. He was slightly stunned. Wow, I didn't expect the hotel industry to be so united. One family is in trouble, and 8 families will help. No ink, just sign directly. Then, oh, I'll pay the money right away. No, 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 no hurry, anytime is fine. Question mark, question mark, question mark. The hotel industry has become like this. Not even in a hurry to collect the money. At this moment, Chen Qing felt that there was something wrong with his brain. Although he didn't understand, he was very happy. It would be better if he could pay in installments. The manager and the chef directed everyone to clean up the mess. They left quickly with a truckload of garbage. When everything calmed down, a takeaway electric car slowly arrived, kept comparing the addresses, and asked in confusion, Mr. Chen, who is Mr. Chen? Your express delivery. No, your takeaway. Have a good meal. Chen Qing took the milk tea and handed it to the takeaway boy. Brother, can you take me back? I'll treat you to milk tea. The skewers, I'll give them to you too. Spicy little. It's yours too. The boy was a little confused. He had the most bizarre night in his career. He sent Chen Qing downstairs to the hotel, took 2 sips of milk tea, and murmured, Arigato Chen Mumu-san. When he returned to the hotel, Chen Man woke up in a daze. Good night, Chen Qing. Good night. Chen Man fell asleep and snored. Chen Qing suddenly thought of something and took out the lottery ticket. 25 million. Rich. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 33. This is the prize drawn on the 24th, starting with 24. No need to look, it must be a win. This set of numbers is so special. I can't forget it even if I want to. I seem to have heard that I have to pay taxes, is it 20%? Should I wear a helmet when I receive the prize? Chen Qing mumbled and searched for the winning numbers. Then, stunned, 4, 6, 9, 18, 24, 27, 32. Did I read it wrong? He checked the numbers carefully. Then checked the date. July 24th. That's right. So what went wrong? 6. Really 6. He tore the lottery ticket to pieces. He fell asleep holding Chen Man. The two of them were busy, but the two of them were busy. Perhaps because he wanted to grow his brain, Chen Qing slept until noon. Chen Man had already gone to school by himself. After eating, he came to the 5th Battalion of the Ghost Control Army to report. Chen Qing, welcome. Han Yuan punched his left chest with his right fist and saluted. Chen Qing also returned the salute. Maybe you already know about it, but let me introduce our brigade. The Ghost Control Army, the Ghost Slayer Team, and the Martial Arts School constitute the 3 major cultivation systems now. Among them, the Ghost Control Army is mainly responsible for guarding, with the largest number, and is the foundation of the entire Tang dynasty now. The Ghost Slayer Team is more dangerous. They belong to the mobile force, responsible for beheading and exploration. They can be regarded as special forces and are the most cutting-edge combat power. The martial arts school concentrates most of the talented but unaccustomed to fighting and killing. They improve their skills and develop weapons, etc. For example, the standard weapon in the army, the Kunwu sword, was developed by the martial arts school. Chen Qing naturally knew. The Ghost Slayer team has the best treatment, but Chen Qing has to take care of Chen Man, so he is destined to not be able to fight east and west. You seem to know a lot about the Ghost Control Army. Do you know what 3 weapons we have? Kunwu sword, Kunlun crossbow, and gun. Chen Qing did not hesitate. I choose Kunwu sword. Once you choose a weapon, it is equivalent to choosing the subsequent position allocation. I know. Kunwu sword is a close combat type. Kunlun crossbow, auxiliary, medium and short-range sniping. Gun, auxiliary, long-range sniping. Han Yuan nodded. Let's formally test your talent, and then receive equipment. Those with A-level talent generally have their own opportunities, so they will not be forced to stay in the team. What about you? I want to learn in the team for a few days first. The art of contracting ghosts must be learned. Especially the art of contracting ghosts in the Black Prison. He Chang, take Chen Qing to test his talent. Soon, a strong man came over. He was very talkative and talked non-stop as soon as he saw Chen Qing. My name is He Chang, and I like fishing. My family used to be butchers. Have you ever killed pigs? I heard from the captain that you have an S-level talent. It would be a pity if you don't join the Ghost Slayer team with this talent. What does an S-level talent feel like? After talking all the way, they came to a place that looked a bit like the radiology department of a hospital. There was a wall on the side with a large glass. Two people in white coats and Han Yuan were watching there. There was something like an electric chair in the middle. There were palm-shaped depressions on the armrests. Sit on it and put your hands in. A lot of clips with wires were clamped on the hands and feet, and then a helmet with a bunch of wires was put on. There hasn't been an S-level newcomer in the team for a long time. The one that did was also snatched away by the Ghost Slayer team. I hope this S-level can stay here. He Chang confirmed that everything was in place, made an okay gesture to the person behind the glass, and said with a sly smile. Are you ready to leave your body? Chen Qing nodded. Buzz. A soft sound. My whole body was shaken. Especially my head, which seemed to be pulled by something in the air. It really felt like my soul was leaving my body. The values on the computer display panel jumped around and suddenly stopped. At the end of a bunch of values, there was a small word. Energy level. SS. The doctor opened his mouth wide. Double S level. SS level. The same level as you, the captain. Han Yuan also opened his mouth wide and suddenly whispered, it's wrong. Change it back to S level. Ah, change it if I tell you to. Ah, do you believe I will beat you? Okay, they naturally knew why. If the Ghost Slayer knew about this, they would definitely take him away. But Captain, there will be a record in the machine. When they find out, with my personality charm, Chen Qing won't be able to drive me away. Quote. He Chang and Chen Qing soon saw the result. It is indeed a genuine S. Congratulations, Chen Qing. Compared with last time, you have made a little progress. Han Yuan said with a smile. The two doctors looked at each other and remained silent. Chen Qing thought that he had indeed grown a little. When he used the demon suppression tower to collect takeout, he felt it. After thinking for a while, he asked Han Yuan, Captain, my head has been itchy these days. Well, how to describe it? It's just, I feel like I'm going to grow a brain. Is this normal? Hearing this, Han Yuan, the two doctors, and He Chang were all stunned. Congratulations. He Chang didn't finish his words. Han Yuan kicked him away. He Chang was kicked away and shut up. Han Yuan said in a heavy tone, the new brother may have a brain disease. Do you still want to be clever? He Chang, Chen Qing, wait here for a while. Han Yuan said and pulled the three people into the glass room. Is he going to wake up? Boss, is he going to wake up? Shut up. Han Yuan rubbed his hair, and his face was like a mask of pain. I finally got a good seedling, but he's almost awakened. I can't keep him now. After struggling for a while, he angrily said, change it. Change it to a. Ah, boss, you're a bit dark now. That's not fair. My salary will be reduced by half. Change it or not. Believe it or not, I'll beat you up. Tisk tisk, I'll call you Captain Dark from now on. You're lawless, you don't care about the king's law. He Chang wanted to say something else, but was kicked away again. Bullshit. I have a lot of good stuff in my warehouse, and I'll definitely make it up to him. When he returned to Chen Qing, Han Yuan's face was a little heavy. You have a telekinesis tumor in your brain, which is absorbing your telekinesis. So your correct energy level is A. Tisk tisk. This thing will be slowly digested as you practice. Don't worry. Chen Qing was stunned. Things are weird, but the feeling of growing brains is real. It may have an impact. Let's go and choose a technique first. What technique do you want? As soon as this was mentioned, Chen Qing immediately shifted his thoughts. Black Prison Ghost Contract Technique. This is a must, but it cannot be said. Because this thing is confidential, I can't explain how I know it exists. Originally, He Chang was supposed to lead the way for the rest of the journey, but Han Yuan seemed very enthusiastic and led the way himself. Came to the book collection hall. Let's call it that. In fact, this is a room with strict security, with many locked black boxes. Some black boxes are very long, some are very heavy, and some are very small. And the techniques are also placed in the black boxes. You are A-level, you can choose 2 A-level items, any one you want. Each black box has a metal plate with an introduction to the items inside. Item name: Ghost Contract Technique. Category: Technique. Level: B. Danger level: None. Notes: Can contract ghosts, must have for ghost masters. Item name: High Precision Tactical Rifle, Silver Bullet. Category: Weapons. Level: B. Danger level: None. Notes: Can be loaded with special bullets to kill ghost leaders at a long distance. Item name: Blood Red Clothes. Category: Antiquities. Level: S. Danger level: None. Notes: Left behind after killing a female ghost, it has extremely strong defense against ghosts. Chen Qing looked at them one by one, and the level of the antiquities was extremely high. Basically, they were all S level and above. Of course, his own demon suppressing tower and Zhang Kui map were definitely SSS level. If the cap is 10 S's, then there are 10 S's, and if the cap is 100 S's, then there are 100 S's. That's it. What a pity. If it was S level, you could choose this blood red dress. He Chang and the 2 doctors looked at Han Yuan, with undisguised contempt in their eyes. Ahem. Han Yuan coughed twice. Well, in line with the fine tradition of taking care of newcomers, you can choose one more SS level 1, and the contribution points will be deducted from mine. Contribution points. You get it when you complete the task. You can exchange it for money, you can exchange it for rewards. If you don't have what you want here, you can also apply to the superior warehouse. Oh, Chen Qing nodded. Look back again. Item name: Black Prison Ghost Contracting Technique. Category: Gongfa. Level: SS level. Danger level. Remarks: A dangerous advanced method of ghost contracting technique. After using it, the ghost will be locked in the soul realm, and it can only be released when there is only one soul fluctuation left. Note: one side dies, only one side remains. Or the ghost submits to the human, and the soul fluctuations of both sides are unified. Note 2. This skill is extremely domineering. It is a life and death skill, please choose carefully. Captain, I want this. Han Yuan's face changed. That won't work. Han Yuan shook his head and said, choose something else. He Chang also advised, brother, you should choose something else. Chen Qing looked at the 2 of them. Look at this, danger level. Han Yuan's expression was solemn. As long as there are these 4 words, even if it is only 1 star, it is very dangerous. Generally speaking, things with a 2-star danger level will not appear here. These are all managed by a very mysterious organization at the headquarters Tianji Pavilion. With the 4 words, danger level, whether it is an ancient artifact or a technique, it is extremely dangerous. The reason why it is still here is that it has not been handed in time. He Chang also advised, brother, look at the notes above, which means that if you put the ghost into this black prison, there are only 3 results: you die, it dies, or the contract is successful. The success rate of contracting ghosts is very low, maybe less than 10%. This is almost forcing yourself to death. As long as you don't die, you can always contract the next one. Why bother? Chen Qing naturally knew. This is exactly why he chose this technique. Let's take this one. Han Yuan looked at Chen Qing, frowned, and gritted his teeth. Change it to an SSS level 1. But Chen Qing was very determined. Thank you, Captain. Didn't you say that talents can reach A level because of their own opportunities, and my opportunity just needs this? Han Yuan sighed. Then he took a very strange key to open the box. A very thin ancient book. There are many acupuncture point marks on it, and on the side are marked how to control the spiritual energy to wander between the spaces. After choosing this one, he chose another, Ghost Energy Level Detector. This thing is like a watch, and it also has the function of telling time. It integrates some common functions such as a compass, and the most important thing is, it can detect the energy level of ghosts. Wandering souls, evil ghosts, evil spirits. For example, C-level wandering souls, A-level wandering souls, S-level evil ghosts, etc. There is still one quota, but Chen Qing can't think of what to take. If you don't like any of them, you can choose next time. Okay. Then he received the standard Kunwu sword, which looks like a Tang sword, with blood-colored patterns on the surface, and it was heavy and substantial. Then came the team uniforms, certificates, etc. The room number assigned to you is 5 to 27. No key required, facial recognition. Both the Ghost Slayer and the Ghost Guard will have concentrated special training, and you are no exception, but as long as you complete the training for the day, you can go back. Report tomorrow, and formal training will begin the day after tomorrow. You came 2 days early, so you can go back first. Boss, is there a teacher for training? I want to learn now. We have invited a martial arts schoolmaster to be your theoretical teacher, and he will be here in the next 2 days. He has arrived this morning. He Chang said beside him. Oh, then go find him yourself. Chen Qing quickly found the teacher's dormitory. The teacher's surname is Wu Kong. He seemed to have just finished tidying up and was writing a PPT on his laptop, titled, The Root of Soul Movement is Thought Movement and Spiritual Movement. Chen Qing told Wukong the purpose of his visit, and Wukong was a little surprised. But he still nodded in approval and said, I like people who are eager to learn. What is your talent level? A level. Wow, rare. Wukong was even more surprised. The dormitory conditions were limited, so he welcomed Chen Qing in. Put a glass of water on the stool, and surround the glass with your hands about an inch apart. Just imagine that there is an electric current between your 2 palms, and try to drive them, like this. After saying that, the water in the glass trembled slightly, even though there was no contact. This is the soul movement realm. To put it bluntly, soul movement is the movement of thoughts, spirits, and will. Just like some people are born with the ability to move their nostrils and ears, but others can't do it. The soul movement realm is like this. If you can, you can, and if you can't, you can't. Although it is the simplest and most basic realm, if you don't have talent, it's useless to work hard for 100 years. Generally speaking, it takes one. Wukong suddenly widened his eyes. Because the water cup between Chen Qing's hands moved. Quote. 1 day, to 1 month. Is your talent really just a? Yes, the captain confirmed it personally. Wukong was confused, but still nodded. Congratulations, you have reached the soul movement realm. Really, Chen Qing was happy. But Wukong also said that this is the simplest and most basic realm, and it is not surprising that he can reach it. Describe taking out a big card, a folded hard card, and when it is turned over, it forms a map of acupuncture points of the same size. Come on, take off your clothes. Chen Qing took them off immediately. Wukong took out something like a pistol, with a thumb-sized jade stone at the tip of the gun, and a ghost bead embedded on the butt of the gun. Your talent is A-level, which means that you already have a lot of spiritual energy in your body. Wukong put the gun tip under his throat. This is called Tiantu point. I will mark it for you with the guide gun, and you try to control the spiritual power here. As he spoke, the gun tip gave off a hint of coolness and a little numbness. Chen Qing had never felt the spiritual energy in the body, but when he guided it like this, he really felt that there was spiritual energy all over his body. After trying hard, he could indeed control them. It was just very difficult. It was a bit like the effort when using a mouse for the first time. Although it could move, it took a lot of effort to control it. After a while, Chen Qing slowly found the trick, and tried hard to drive the spiritual energy to the position guided by the guide gun. The ghost bead on the butt of the guide gun gradually lit up. Wukong opened his mouth and was stunned. Successful on the first try. What kind of monster is this? Teacher, is that so? Chen Qing wanted to control more spiritual energy to go over, but the back waves pushed the front waves, and there was always only a little that could stay on the Tiantu acupoint. Okay, Wukong said in a daze. Pointing to a red line on the acupoint map, this circle of acupoints is the so-called Zhou Tian. Controlling the spiritual energy to go around in a circle is Zhou Tian. If you are fine, remember to control the spiritual energy to go around more. This will form something like a force field, attracting more spiritual energy into your body. You can go back, take this. Chen Qing took a large, thin book. There is no shortcut to cultivation. You must practice more. I understand. Thank you, teacher. Chen Qing left, and Wukong was still in a daze. After thinking for a while, he called Han Yuan. Captain Han, there may be something wrong with Chen Qing's talent test. It is impossible to have only A. Han Yuan was silent, but still said with a stiff upper lip, yes, I tested it myself. Ask again. What's wrong? His soul is moving, and he has learned to slowly control the spiritual energy. Puff. The sound of spitting came from the other end of the phone. The first time he learned to use the skill, he was really surprised. What? Han Yuan was really surprised. It usually takes a week to a month to activate the soul, but he succeeded in one go. Then to activate the spiritual energy, Chen Qing succeeded in just the first time he used the guide gun, and the guide gun was only in gear 1. Generally speaking, the guide gun has to be in gear 4 or 5 to be useful. Some people even have to live in the guide instrument and let the guide instrument run for several days before they can barely learn to activate the spiritual energy. This talent is too terrible. It is absolutely impossible to be only A level. I'm afraid S, double S, triple S are all possible. So he is no longer your student, Han Yuan said helplessly. All of a sudden, Wukong understood everything. He, who was always gentle, also said, "You are too dark. Dark ass." Han Yuan said angrily, What skills can't I teach? Or what equipment do I not have? And he doesn't want to join the ghost killing team, and I didn't force him to stay here. Wukong was stunned. Anyway, he is A. Do you understand? A. Ah. Quote. He opened the necklace and put the kunwu knife and equipment into the demon suppressing tower. Chen Qing began to concentrate on running the Zhou Tian. When there is a guide gun, it is like a beacon in the dark night. Just rush there. But now it has become a mess, and everything has to be explored slowly. Comparing with the acupuncture point map, Chen Qing controlled the spiritual energy to run slowly. Chen Qing, I'm back. Chen Man shouted and opened the door to enter. Seeing Chen Qing practicing, although he didn't know what he was doing, he didn't ask. He ate something and started to do his homework. Chen Qing, I can't answer the first question. Chen Qing waved his hand, ring the bell. He sank into meditation again. Chen Man rang the service bell, and the waiter began to give painful guidance again. Until dinner, Chen Qing did not move. At 9 o'clock in the evening, Chen Man yawned. Chen Qing suddenly opened his eyes. Ha, cleared. The first Zhou Tian, completed. Chen Qing, good night. Chen Man brushed his teeth and soon fell asleep. Chen Qing ate his meal in a hurry. He started to run the Zhou Tian again. This time it was obviously faster. When the second circle was completed, it was pitch black, and I didn't know what time it was. Chen Qing tried to start the second Zhou Tian. The acupoints of the second Zhou Tian were more difficult to find, and the direction was more complicated. Chen Qing's speed suddenly slowed down a lot. Until Chen Man had breakfast and left, Chen Qing was still practicing. Maybe it was the effect of nourishing the spirit, I didn't feel sleepy after staying up all night. When he opened his eyes again, it was when Chen Man came back from school. No wonder he stayed in seclusion for several years. Time flies so fast. While having dinner with Chen Man, the doorbell of the hotel rang. Chen Man opened the door, and a woman's voice that was familiar and strange rang out. Ah, Chen Man, you have grown up so much, and you are becoming more and more likable. 3 people walked in. A middle-aged woman, carrying a box of milk in one hand and a bag of fruit in the other, was a little thin, with narrow eyes and big lipstick. A middle-aged man, dressed in business clothes, with a big and heavy belly and shiny leather. There was also a girl of the same age as Chen Qing, chewing gum, and inherited the middle-aged woman's narrow eyes. Chen Qing frowned. The middle-aged woman was Chen Qing's aunt, named Huang Shui. Uncle Hong Jian, cousin Hong Ya. They also live in the Zhongpan community and are Chen Qing's only relatives now, but they have not been in contact for 6 or 7 years. When Chen Qing was in the most difficult time and had no food, Chen Qing went to ask them for help. Chen Qing will never forget that when he was 13 years old, he came to their house in the cold winter, just to borrow 200 yuan. 200, what is 200 for a family with 2 working people? But these 200 yuan can save himself and Chen Man. He tried his best to please them, using the most humble tone and gesture. But what did he get in return? The ant sighed and even found a few rotten apples from somewhere to cry poor. But the plates under the apples were obviously made of silver. When Chen Qing walked out of the door in despair, he sat at the door for a long time, and he heard a laugh that he would never forget in his life. That fool has been targeting me since she was a child, and she is better than me in every way, ha 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 ha, look. Now she has come to my door to beg for help. How harsh. Chen Qing never thought that his closest relatives would smile. Yin watched himself struggling in the mud. Instead, it was the blind old man who had been alone all his life who pulled him up. He took out a bunch of dirty small change from his dirty pocket and saved himself and Chen Man in that cold winter. Since then, although they lived in the same community, Chen Qing had no contact with them again. They never greeted each other when they met. Ah, Chen Qing, you have grown into such a handsome young man. Auntie is so surprised to see you. As she said that, she looked around again. Huang Shui sat down by herself and sighed again. Your parents left early, leaving you two alone. Many times when I think of it, I feel so bad in my heart. As she said that, her eyes turned red. Chen Qing had been silent all the time, but at this moment his eyelids jumped suddenly. A nameless anger rushed to his head. Bad taste. We live in the same community. 7 years. Have you come to see us even once? When Huang Shui said this, her tone was full of reproach. You should cancel this room today. You are so young, and you don't know how to save money at all. Before, 200 yuan was like stars in the sky for me, but now 5,000 yuan a night is just a dime in my eyes. Chen Qing stared straight into Huang Shui's eyes. Aunt, is the milk and fruit you brought today worth 200 yuan? Huang Shui looked a little unnatural, and forced a smile. What are you talking about, kid? Hey, you are so fussy about old things. Hong Ya chewed gum and rolled her eyes at Chen Qing. It's just 200 yuan, are you going to remember it for the rest of your life? You are such a fool. Chen Qing's eyelids jumped slightly. Hands pressed on the necklace involuntarily. Seeing that Chen Qing was in a bad mood, Hong Jian waved his hand and looked at Hong Ya. Say less. It's not that I don't want to see you, but there are too many things in the past few years. I am busy, and your aunt is busy too. After pondering for a few words, he pushed the milk and fruit bags forward. Isn't this to see you? These are all good milk and fresh fruits. Chen Man brought a large plate of fruits at the right time, eating while watching cartoons, and frowned every time he saw durian. And threw it into the trash can beside. Hong Jian's face was a little embarrassed. Chen Qing didn't even glance at the fruit. I've been a little picky in recent years, and generally don't eat fruits under 200 yuan. Let's be frank, what are you doing here? It's like this, Zhao King, Huang Shui said. Let's call her Chen Qing. Chen Qing frowned. Not everyone can call her Zhao King. How can you talk like that? This is my mother. She is also your elder. Hong Ya was unhappy and stared at Chen Qing. You, be careful with your words. Okay. Hong Jian frowned and interrupted. Slowly said. Yesterday I heard from Chen Kun that your test talent reached S. Xiao Ya's test talent was not good, and she got C. You can switch with her. Aren't you going to join the Ghost Control Army? The Ghost Control Army does not need such a high talent. I won't let you help for nothing. Hong Jian solemnly took out a stack of red banknotes. This is 10,000 yuan, and I will give you another 5,000 after changing the talent. The money was so big that it was worth a lot of money. Looking at this, a whole 10,000 yuan. Chen Qing was stunned. Ha ha ha. Chen Qing laughed wildly. Ha 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 ha. The three of them were shocked. After a while, Chen Qing finally stopped laughing and said in a serious tone, 10,000. A whole 10,000. Huang Shui was stunned and finally realized something was wrong. I know you are a little better off now. 10,000 is not a lot, but it is not a small amount either. And Chen Qing, we are blood relatives after all. If your sister achieves something in the future, you will also benefit. Benefits. Chen Qing sneered. An S-level talent can get at least 100,000 scholarship to join the martial arts school. You give me 10,000. Are you sending away a beggar? Huang Shui and Hong Jian paused. They have discussed how much to give Chen Qing many times, and finally decided on 10,000. The 5,000 added now was added temporarily by Hong Jian. Because they were sure that Chen Qing, an orphan, would not understand things like scholarships. They could make a lot of money on scholarships, and they could also choose a good school for Hong Ya, killing two birds with one stone. They never expected that Chen Qing actually knew about martial arts schools. You don't need to go anyway. With Xiaoya's intelligence, she will definitely become a big shot if she goes to martial arts school. It will be easy to find a job for you at that time. Huang Shui tried to persuade Chen Qing. Zhao King, we are always blood relatives, and this blood relationship cannot be cut off. Huang Shui added, another 10,000, okay. That's 20,000, a lot. Chen Qing looked at the three of them coldly. Seeing Chen Qing's intention, Huang Shui's face was filled with joy. Chen Qing came to the bedside and rang the service bell. Send me 10 bottles of mineral water, and 10 people are needed to deliver it. Ah, the operator was stunned. There is a refrigerator in the presidential suite, not to mention mineral water and drinks, there is also red wine. Can you do it? Yes. The operator cursed in his heart, but still agreed. The waiters were all cursing, but they had no choice but to take a bottle of mineral water and go upstairs. You really don't treat me as a human being. You're just bored. Maybe you think you can earn some money back in this way. It's outrageous. Okay, stop talking. We must do everything possible to meet the requirements of the presidential suite. 10 people lined up, each holding a bottle of mineral water in both hands. Seeing that the door was open and there were 3 more people inside, they felt strange, but still smiled and knocked on the door. Mr. Chen, your mineral water has arrived. Chen Qing waved his hand, bring it here. The first waiter handed it over with both hands. Chen Qing took it casually and gave him 2 yuan, water money. The waiter was stunned and was about to say it was free. Chen Qing handed over 2 stacks of red banknotes. This is a tip. The waiter was stunned. Huang Shui was stunned. Hong Jian was stunned. Hong Ya was stunned. Chen, this, sir. The waiter's voice was a little trembling, and his hands were also a little trembling. Finally, he came back to his senses and took 2 stacks of red banknotes. His face flushed with excitement. Thank you, sir. The waiters behind were all shocked. The neat team was a little messy. Chen Qing looked at Huang Shui coldly. 20,000. A lot. The second waiter suppressed his excitement and came to Chen Qing with mineral water in both hands. Chen Qing took out 2 yuan, water money. He came to the safe again and took out 20,000. This is a tip for you. Chen Qing looked at Huang Shui again. When I had no food to eat before, I borrowed 200 from you. That was the life-saving money that could save me and Xiaoman. Chen Qing sneered. Now, 20,000, a lot. The third waiter also came over trembling. Chen Qing gave 20,000 2 yuan again. Now, you want to buy my S-level talent for 20,000. Your money is in gold, right? Are you okay? Huang Shui's face had changed, and she stood up suddenly. Chen Qing. What do you mean, you idiot? Oh, and you, cousin. You are really a fool. What do I mean? I will never give you my S-level talent even if I give it to a dog. All the waiters understood it now. This is the real version of, don't bully the poor young man. Hong Jian snorted coldly. Chen Qing. Don't say it so absolutely. He stared at Chen Qing. Don't do it so absolutely. Absolutely. You still call me relatives. Bah, don't disgust me. I will remember your words. The fool came to my door to beg, for life. 2 old fools plus a little idiot. How dare you come to see me today? Just carrying this milk worth tens of yuan. Chen Qing kicked the milk fiercely. Bang! The milk exploded and splashed everywhere. Especially the Hong family, who were soaked all over. Huang Shui was extremely angry. You are disobedient. You are unfilial. Quote. I am filial to your mother. Chen Qing was even angrier. Whether you raised me or gave birth to me, even if you gave Xiaoman and me a corn cob, I would recognize you as my elder. Filial. I will not be filial to you even if I am a dog. I will tear you apart. Hong Ya couldn't help it and rushed forward. But she was held down by several waiters. Let me go. Indecent assault. Rape. Hong Ya screamed, but was still held down. A waitress slapped her in the face. Shut up. You hit me. Hong Ya was stunned. Chen Qing was also shocked by the slap. Then he smiled and threw 2 stacks of money over. Technical work, reward. Hong Jian and Huang Shui pushed several waiters away and panted heavily. Chen Qing, let's wait and see. They wanted to leave, but the waiter had blocked the door. The 3 of them panicked. What do you want to do? Quote. Don't wait and see, just sit and watch. Chen Qing looked at the 3 coldly. Chen Qing, you are still young, don't be impulsive. Huang Shui was already panicking. We are sorry for you, just pretend that we have never been here, let us go. Chen Qing touched the necklace again, and finally put it down. Just laughed. Ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha, did you see that family of fools who used to be so high and mighty? Today they came to my door to beg. Chen Qing laughed wildly again. Sneered. The word, idiot, today I will officially return it to you. After that, he shouted, let the 3 fools go. The 3 people were all livid, but they really didn't dare to speak anymore. Walked away with an angry face. A waiter suddenly chased out and said loudly. Sorry, the elevator is out of order today, please take the stairs. You are going too far. Quote, please take the stairs. This is the 30th floor. Please take the stairs. Listening to the noise outside, Chen Qing threw another 20,000 yuan and laughed. Technical work, reward. In 10 minutes, Chen Qing spent nearly 300,000 yuan. But it was great. He was extremely comfortable. In addition to the group of people who attacked him, Chen Qing hated Huang Shui the most. The other 2 were Chen Shan and Chen Quan. They disappeared mysteriously and had been gone for 6 years. But in the last life, Chen Quan actually went home 3 days before the blood moon. He left behind 2 paper knives and 2 paper armors. It was with this set of equipment that Chen Qing and Chen Man were able to survive the 3rd blood moon. It was just that Chen Qing and Chen Man were not at home that day and missed it. They didn't even meet. They might have their own reasons, but they left the 2 of them for 7 years. When they left, Chen Qing was just a primary school student. Raising Chen Man alone, the hardship can be imagined. Chen Qing hated Chen Quan for not even seeing him once. Hated them for not having a single explanation. Even if he just said, I have my reasons, it would be fine. But there was not even a single word. Not even a single meeting. His mind was floating. After the waiter cleaned up the room, Chen Qing looked at the demon suppression tower. He did not take it from the safe just now, but directly from the demon suppression tower. Reaching the soul-moving realm, the spiritual energy can overflow, and objects can be taken from a distance. Regardless of these, Chen Qing sank into cultivation again. He wanted to learn the black prison ghost contracting technique as soon as possible. On the other side, Chen Shi was full of hope and walked towards the Aria Hotel. She was carrying a basket of fruits, which was carefully decorated, and there were 9 strange little flowers in it. This is the Soma flower, the sacred flower of the Yi people, and its flower language is restrained love and forever belongs to you. This is what she decided after choosing hundreds of flowers. It is niche enough, not too common, and the flower language is also very suitable. Originally, after the incident at the police station, she wanted to give up. But she heard 2 pieces of news. The renovation cost of Chen Qing's house is probably close to 10 million. Chen Qing got an S in the talent test. As soon as she learned these 2 pieces of news, Chengxi could no longer sit still. Potential stock. Super potential stock. Must be taken. After careful calculation, in her impression, she and Chen Qing get along very well. Except for the misunderstanding about the subway. But good things take time, which makes the relationship between the 2 people more unusual. Just like idol dramas, you have to go through many misunderstandings and setbacks before the relationship can be solid. For example, now, she can apologize naturally and then use some tricks. I can stay here tonight. What should I do when I give my first time? Pain, afraid, although I have experienced it many times. But it still hurts a little when it breaks again after repair. Men, there is a beast hidden in their hearts. This membrane should be the first thing that can make him feel the most conquered, right? The top is a half-hanging shawl, not too revealing, but it will fall off at the touch. A pair of straight legs are exposed under the miniskirt. She has cleaned the hair thoroughly, and there is no hair left when she looks down. She remembered the pain when cleaning, and her buttocks tightened a little. The elevator slowly went up, facing the bright elevator wall, and finally made some adjustments. When she got out of the elevator, Chengxi changed to another expression. With a little timidity and a little joy, her lips, which were specially painted twice, were just red and a little transparent. She pressed the doorbell. After a moment, Chen Man poked his head out. Seeing Chen Shi, he turned around and shouted, "Chen Cheng, someone is looking for you. Tell me I'm not here." Chen Man closed the door very seriously. "Chen Cheng is not here." Bang! The door closed. Chen Shi was stunned. None of the countless developments that he had rehearsed in his mind was like this one. It's poisonous. This is poisonous. After taking a long breath, Chen Shi sent a voice message to Chen Cheng. "Chen Cheng, open the door, it's someone else." Chen Cheng didn't respond. He was trying to run the Zhou Tian. Chen Shi adjusted his posture at the door. Putting his toes together, looking down at his toes, he looked timid and expectant. When Chen Cheng opened the door, he slowly raised his head. The next scene was quickly rehearsed in his mind, even with background music and special effects. But 5 minutes passed. No movement. Didn't you see it? Chengxi gradually lost his patience and sent another message. "Chen Cheng, give it to others. Open the door, I'm here to apologize." 5 minutes passed. My heels hurt. Still no movement. Chengxi gritted her teeth and rang the doorbell again. Chen Man looked at her through the crack of the door again, without lowering the anti-theft chain. "Chen Cheng, she's here again. No matter who it is, don't open the door." Chen Cheng said impatiently. "There are too many coquettish fools these days, and many of them are rotten assholes, ignore them." Chengxi's cheeks suddenly turned red. "It's so ugly. I did play a little too much for a while. Did he know?" Chen Man was about to close the door again, but Chengxi pushed it with one foot and shouted inside, "Chen Cheng, I'm Xiaoxi, open the door for me." "What are you doing here?" Chengxi's eyes were a little red. "I want to apologize." Quote. She sobbed slightly, lowered her head and looked at her toes. "I was wrong about the subway incident, and I know I pissed you off. Here, I bought you some fruit." Fruit again. Chen Cheng cursed. Chen Shi was slightly stunned. What does that mean? Chen Cheng had just reached a critical point in his cultivation, and he was still angry with Huang Shui's family, so he really had no time to care about her. "Brother Chen Cheng, can you let me in? I've been standing here for a long time." "Come in." "What for?" Chen Cheng frowned. Chen Shi was slightly stunned. "What for? Isn't it obvious what I'm doing wearing this? But you can't just act like a takeaway delivered to your door, right?" She was at a loss for a moment, stamped her feet suddenly, and cried, You bully me." Quote. He covered his face and ran away at the end of the corridor. As soon as he entered the elevator, Chengxi frowned. She felt wronged. Really wronged. She was confident that she had done nothing wrong, so why did the developments every time go beyond her control? Took a few deep breaths and recalled the movements and tone of her leaving just now. I felt that things were still under her control. If nothing unexpected happens, Chen Cheng's message will be sent soon. The phone rang. Sure enough, Chengxi was delighted, but the caller ID showed Chen Kun. How could it be him? "Sister, where are you?" "I'm in Aria." As soon as Chengxi spoke, she slapped her forehead. Sure enough, Chen Kun said angrily, "You went to find that Chen Cheng. Do you have any shame?" Chengxi felt wronged and tears were about to fall. "Do you have any conscience? Who am I doing this for?" "It's for you." Quote. "You still say that to me." Quote. Chen Kun was silent for a while, and said, Okay, I shouldn't say that to you, but sister, you must come to see someone." Who? A man whose family background, appearance, and potential are 100 times better than Chen Cheng. Chen Kun's tone was a little excited. His name is Ji Luo. Both his parents are big shots. I tell you, he is a SS-level talent. He has reached the soul movement realm. I heard that all communities will be organized into war zones soon. His family has inside information, so he came to Ziming City specifically. If you get in touch with this line, Chen Cheng is nothing. Chen Shi was very interested. Where is he? We are together, and we will pick you up soon. Don't come to the hotel, come to, pick me up at the entrance of Dahua bookstore. Quote. Soon, AG class stopped at the door of the bookstore. Chengxi was holding a copy of Jane Eyre, with her feet together and a smile on her face. She seemed not to see the car, but was looking in other directions. She was full of girlishness. She is your sister. Ji Luo's voice was full of surprise. He was from a noble family, but he had always been in a semi-closed scene, either learning martial arts or studying, and he really hadn't seen many girls of the same age. Ji Luo got out of the car in a few steps, and with a little excitement, he stretched out his hand. Are you Chengxi? My name is Ji Luo. Chengxi stretched out her hand, but was held tightly, her face flushed immediately, and her voice was as thin as a mosquito. You, please let go. Ji Luo quickly let go, and saw the book in her hand, and liked it even more. Do you like Jane Eyre too? I especially like the owner of Thornfield Manor, he has the masculinity I like. Quote. Ji Luo's heart was burning with excitement. This is such a great fortune. The first time I went out, I met such a top-notch girl. Good-looking, top-notch figure, well-read, quiet personality, suitable for family life. A great candidate for a wife. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.